A black combat suit, just like the one seen on TV. Helmeted, with a police insignia on the left arm. An assault rifle slung over his shoulder, a single grenade clipped to his waist, and a compact tablet screen strapped to his elbow. Blood had soaked into the elbow and knee pads. This was a rescue operative. But now, aside from Lin Qin, no one else was around. Even through the visor, Lin Qin could sense the thick stench of blood. He crouched beside the fallen man, gently tapping his face. "Hey, wake up." No response. The man had lost too much blood. His eyelids fluttered, then closed slowly. He wasn't dead yet, but fading fast. Suddenly, a crackle came from the walkie-talkie on the man's chest. The static gave way to desperate voices. Number 6, do you copy? This is number 1. I need backup. Repeat, need backup. Number 4, requesting support. We're overwhelmed. Team 2, number 7, requesting immediate support. Lin Qin's brow furrowed. The man lying before him. He must be number 6. Grimly, Lin Qin grabbed a flashlight from the ground and examined the man's body. He needed to know if this was a zombie attack. If it wasn't, he might still be saved. But then he saw it. A deep, rag-bite mark on the elbow, already showing signs of necrotic discoloration. It was too late. No saving him now. Just then, the screen on the man's arm flickered to life, casting a weak glow. Curious, Lin Qin leaned closer. It displayed a detailed evacuation route, highlighted with markers of other team positions. From a map, it was clear the situation was worse than expected. The rescue squad had been completely scattered, unable to withstand the overwhelming number of zombies. This map might be their last hope. Lin Qin's gaze drifted to the man's equipment. The rifle, an authentic QB's 95, was military-grade, far better than anything civilians had access to. It would be foolish to let it go to waste. "I'm sorry, brother," Lin Qin said softly, "but I can't let this gear die with you." With quiet efficiency, he stripped the gear. The rifle, magazine check, 5 rounds left. Better than nothing. Into his storage space it went. The lone grenade, handled with utmost care, then stored away. The tactical tablet, the helmet, the night vision goggles, the bulletproof vest, all removed and secured. He paused at the combat boots. A glance at his own feet, already wearing decent shoes. The sizes probably wouldn't match anyway. He left them. After one last check of the man's pockets to make sure nothing was missed, Lin Qin stood, donned the vest, and tidied his appearance. With a heavy sigh, he picked up the flashlight and made his way home. Back at the villa, Zhang Shui and Nan Wei rushed to the door as soon as they saw him. His clothes were streaked with blood, their faces filled with concern. "What happened? Are you hurt?" Zhang Shui asked, her voice trembling. "What's going on outside?" Nan Wei added from behind. Lin Qin glanced down at the bloodied gear and reassured them. "I'm fine. It's not my blood." Zhang Shui looked at him in disbelief. "Not yours? Then did you kill someone?" He chuckled lightly. "Don't jump to conclusions. He was a rescue officer, already bitten. I just took his gear." He pulled out the tablet and placed it on the table. "The rescue operation has likely failed. This map shows the evacuation route. They were being overrun." Zhang Shui's eyes widened. "But we can still hear guns and explosions outside." Nan Wei stepped forward, gently calming her. "Let him finish." Lin Qin then retrieved the walkie-talkie and tablet, placing both on the table. A moment later, a series of broken transmissions came through. "Retreat, retreat, static, fall back. Number 4, move. Get out now. All teams evacuate immediately. ZT. Repeat, evacuate." The static crackled in and out, but the desperation in their voices was unmistakable. Zhang Shui's face paled. This can't be happening." Nan Wei, calmer now, studied the tablet's map. "Where did you get this?" "From the officer. He was number 6 in their squad. This shows their fallback route. Looks like the evacuation point is near the library and stadium. It's not close, but it might still be viable." He turned to the 2 women. "I suggest we wait for morning. If we're lucky, more information will come through the radio." Nan Wei nodded. "Understood." Zhang Shui, now more composed, remembered something, and excused herself to retrieve the upstairs radio. Lin Qin glanced at her departing figure, then returned to the table. This tablet marks their final rally point. If this fails, we might be on our own. Nanwei studied the evacuation route again and sighed. Let's hold out until we hear something new tomorrow. Lin Qin agreed. For now, that's all we can do. Then, he looked at Zhang Shui and Nanwei. Xiao Shui, take Nanwei upstairs. Get some rest. I'll stay down here tonight and monitor the radio. Xiao Shui looked at Lin Qin and said firmly, I'm staying with you. In case you fall asleep and miss something important on the radio, we'll be caught off guard. Nanwei nodded in agreement. The living room's big enough. I can sleep anywhere for one night. It was summer. No need to worry about cold nights. Lin Qin glanced at both of them, then gave a slight nod. Their logic was sound. In times like these, an extra set of eyes, or two, was a relief. He went upstairs and returned with 3 mats, 3 blankets, and 3 pillows. Put a mat beneath you, he instructed as he handed the bedding out. It's just one night, we'll manage. He made sure all the upstairs lights were turned off. From a distance, the villa would look completely dark. On the first floor, he shut the iron window covers and drew the heavy blackout curtains. Not a sliver of light escaped. The main overhead lights were off, but he kept a small lamp glowing dimly in a corner. Just enough to see, but not enough to attract attention. The plan was for Lin Qin to take first watch, then Xiao Shui, followed by Nanwei. But in truth, he didn't intend to let Nanwei stay up. She and Xiao Shui would rest, while he kept the final watch. Time slipped by. At 8 a.m., the emergency radio crackled to life. The faint static stirred Lin Qin from sleep. He had dozed off at some point during the night. The 2 women were still sound asleep nearby. Annoyed at himself, Lin Qin rubbed his face and forced his eyes open, just as the voice came through the radio again. This is the National Emergency Relief Broadcast Channel. Updates on rescue efforts will follow. The voice repeated, clearer this time. This is the National Emergency Relief Broadcast Channel. Citizens, please listen carefully for the latest rescue information. The situation is far more dangerous than initially assessed. Multiple officers have been lost during rescue operations. After thorough evaluation, designated evacuation points are now established across all regions. Please take note of your local site. Then the broadcast began listing evacuation points. Beijing, Chiryang District, number 10 Yajuan Road, DC Gymnasium. Nanjing, Jianya District, number 222 Jiangdong Middle Road. Gula District, number 58 Longyuan West Road. Shanghai, Jiaoding New City Road number 118, Qingpu Stadium. Anhui Province, Sishi City Stadium. Note, all locations are fictional. Do not interpret as real-world addresses. Lin Qin listened closely. The evacuation points being listed matched exactly with the routes displayed on the SWAT officer's tablet from the day before. That confirmed it. Those locations were likely well fortified, with military presence and basic quarantine facilities. By concentrating people at fixed points, rescue operations would be more manageable, while preserving as much manpower and firepower as possible. Lin Qin gently woke the others. Once all 3 were alert, they sat and listened to the rest of the broadcast. This concludes the evacuation update. Now for a report on the current zombie threat status. First, zombie census remain largely unchanged, except for a noticeable increase in speed. Second, field reports confirm that zombies can now climb. Combined with their speed and strength, they can easily bypass weak barriers, glass windows, wooden doors, standard locks. Third, during thunderstorms, zombies' sensory functions are significantly impaired. Rain and thunder interfere with both hearing and smell. However, do not drop your guard even during storms. Tomorrow, we will begin emergency airdrops in designated areas. Please pay close attention to your local broadcast for exact locations. This supply drop will include weapons, knives, axes, compasses, and maps, tools essential for defending yourselves and reaching evacuation zones. Food and weapons will be marked. Red packages for food, yellow for weapons. Upon hearing this, Zhang Shui and Nan Wei's eyes lit up. Finally, hope. With food and tools coming, survival just became a little more possible. Zhang Shui muttered, "At last, something we can use." Back when she first escaped, all she had was a fruit knife. Useless against a zombie unless you knew exactly how to strike. Nan Wei hadn't fared any better. Her only weapon had been a kitchen knife. Lin Qin remained calm. He remembered how, in his previous life, communication had gone dark far too soon. No radio, no updates, no guidance. He had survived, but it had been sheer luck. Now, at least they had a plan and direction. Still, the promise of food and blades didn't excite him. He already had enough to get by. What he lacked was stability. This villa might hold for now, but not forever. The radio continued. Reminder, this broadcast will repeat at 8 p.m. daily for the next 7 days. Citizens, please prioritize safety while proceeding to your designated evacuation zones. As the message ended, Zhang Shui and Nan Wei rushed to the tablet on the table, examining the evacuation route with newfound excitement. They traced the marked lines with their fingers, their minds already imagining the journey ahead. Zhang Shui smiled softly, her voice filled with a fragile kind of hope. If we get those supplies, maybe we can make it. Maybe we'll see my brother again.
Hey, welcome to Firescale Audiobooks. If you enjoy our audiobooks, please consider subscribing to the channel. Also, feel free to share your review in the comments section below.
Looking back at Lin Qin over their laughed. Lin Qin, I know where this evacuation location is. We have several branches in our company, and we also have a house around this place. I have seen 2 people near the nearby here, just what I am familiar with. After we get the supplies, I will do a route plan. Zhang Shui was thinking about merging with a large army. For this news, it was undoubtedly excited. Nan Wei was also a little happy and looked back at Lin Qin. But he found that compared to the excitement of the 2 of them, Lin Qin didn't seem so happy. What's wrong? Nan Wei carefully recalled the information just broadcast. The speed of zombies has become stronger. After a little seriously, the road to this goal will not be too smooth. She tilted her head and looked to Xiao Xue's side, couldn't help opening. Xiao Xue, I'm afraid we have to think about it this time. What do you miss? Xiao Xue looked up, unknown. In the broadcast, there was another news that the zombies were mutated. Their speed has become faster. If we're going to the stadium, the route of this go is not short. The zombie speed becomes faster. We want to run to hide. The difficulty is much bigger. This problem is very serious. We don't have weapons now, and there are many zombies outside. Even if there are guns, we cannot rush out of the siege without sufficient reserve bullets. For example, last night, the special police officer Lin Qin went out. Of course, except for those people, other special policemen and their weapons were good, but not. You see, the country has changed the rescue plan. This shows that the outside situation is more serious than we think. The possibility of blinding out is that all 3 of us will. Later, Nan Wei did not say clearly, but in fact, she is already clear enough. Zhang Shui's enthusiasm seemed to be poured by a pot of cold water. Thoroughly, she looked at Lin Qin and found his serious face. Indeed, they have no powerful weapons. The bow and arrow are given by Lin Qin. This thing, dealing with those zombies, they're always time to play all the food, and it cannot help them get out of it. Is there so many rescue troops outside? Do you have any injuries? The emergency recall is not without. This shows that the 3 people with no chickens in their hands cannot go to the retreat. Zhang Shui was so angry. What should I do? We can't always wait here to wait. It is not a way. No matter, we can only confirm one point now. We must get the weapon materials of the airdrop. Otherwise, we will only starve to death and death here. Zhang Shui took a deep breath and slowly talked about their current situation. Nan Weidang lived and thought about it for a while. Don't talk about it or not to evacuate. Xiao Xue really has no wrong point. Even if we don't go, these supplies still need to be taken. In the future, the 3 of us must go together to go together. The materials are indeed clearly considered. Watching the 2 people came back and forth, Lin Qin thought of his ability, as well as things in the storage space. There is no gun in the airdrop. He won't go. There are a lot of things in the space, but you can go to make up. And at that time, there is no more than one person staring at an airdrop point. At that time, it was bloody. What's more, these two women do not really be able to resist so many eyes staring at the past. I don't know where to be resolved by others. The strength of the two of them, no, the strength of the three of them is actually not good. Lin Qin sighed. The point is here. Nan Wei and Zhang Shui looked at Lin Qin's sudden sigh and looked unknown. When Lin Qin returned to God, the two women looked at him in doubt. Lin Qin was frightened and condensed. What do you look at me like this? What a sigh of sigh. Zhang Shui asked. Lin Qin let his mouth. Just as our three-legged cat's kung fu, the two of you still want to get air input to deal with the zombies. That is not just a mouse encountered the cat. Find death. Nan Wei was discouraged and helpless. But we don't go. So don't we have food and weapons? The shop and supermarket outside have been snatched for a long time, let alone eat it, but there are no rotten vegetable leaves. Could it be that we can still eat the air and live in the Northwest? Lin Qin took the corner of his mouth, then silently went upstairs. There was a house on the third floor that he had never opened, and even Zhang Shui never went in. After going upstairs, Lin Qin collected all the original big bed wardrobe and other objects into the space. In the empty bedroom, Lin Qin moved out of various foods in the storage space one by one, filling all the entire room. Only a very small gap in and out of and out. But on the bedroom on the third floor, Zhang Shui also stood on the balcony of the room before practicing arrows to kill the zombies. Suddenly, these materials were out. Would it be wrong? But I opened it once last time. Even if Zhang Shui felt puzzled, what could happen? After being prepared, Lin Qin went to the second floor. There are 3 rooms on the second floor, one in Nan Wei, one Zhang Shui, and Lin Qin is full. Others used as storage are in small compartments on the top of the building. Lin Qin looked at the small dark door above. The attic was not large, and there were only half a small room. In winter, it is cold and hot in winter, and sometimes it may be leaked. It is still not appropriate to store things such as foods that are easy to deteriorate. You can place some care products and the like. If an air conditioner is turned on the third floor, hit the air conditioning or place a new vertical air conditioner. Such hot weather, storage materials should not be too difficult. When deciding his mind, Lin Qin got on the attic. The loft is low, and Lin Qin's big man alone has already resisted the wall. But it is quite clean. Before Lin Qin moved, it was cleaned very cleanly by the intermediary company. Now it can be regarded as cheap him. Lin Qin continued to carry things. Yu read the book www.yuyukangshu.net full of stuffing here. Half an hour later, Lin Qin sweatedly downstairs. Nan Wei and Zhang Shui sat on the sofa in the living room nervously, looking at the stairs from time to time, and some were restless. The two of them didn't say much about it just now. Seeing moves from upstairs, Lin Qin's figure gradually appeared in front of him. The two women looked directly. Lin Qin stood on the stairs and looked at them. You two follow me. Nan Wei and Zhang Shui looked at each other. The two stood up and walked up the stairs. Zhang Shui walked and said, "What do you want us to go up?" Lin Qin walked ahead. "When you come up, you know what's the situation." The two of you are not worried. Along the way, Lin Qin took them to the door of a room. Pushing open the door of the second bedroom, all the materials inside were exposed. Nan Wei and Zhang Shui's eyes widened. "What are you all? Isn't it food? What do you think is it? Go in and see." Lin Qin asked without answering. Nan Wei and Zhang Shui walked in directly, opened the box, and exposed the inside. "Oh my God, there will be no food here." Zhang Shui took a deep breath. Nan Wei was also surprised, but she was much better than Zhang Shui's response. "Did you tell us these things like this? Are you afraid we secretly take it away?" The shock of covering her heart, Nan Wei was a little dull. Lin Qin glanced at them and couldn't help laughing. "We are now a grasshopper on the rope. I dare not guarantee what I guarantee you. But in me, everyone is blessed to enjoy it. Of course, if I discovered, since I can take you, I have the ability to solve you." Nan Wei couldn't help but shivered. "Forget it. Blame me. It's not funny at all. But even if we have a house of food, but these things can't support it for a long time, it will still finish it. For us, if you can't go to the evacuation point, the more food at home, the better." Nan Wei's consideration is not unreasonable, and Lin Qin did not deny her words. But he can't tell her now that he has a systematic and food that can't be eaten. Lin Qin, his core card, will not show up. Don't think so much first. Let's exercise well during this time. By the way, I remember you seem to be fighting skills before. Teach us too. Regardless of Nan Wei's fighting skills, there is nothing strong. He has experienced it once, most of which are more than ordinary people for survival and reaction ability. But Zhang Shui is not. A complete ordinary college student who is a first-time society. Nan Wei did not hide his private person and nodded immediately. Yes, but I just have some fur, and you don't have too much hope. Fine. There are not few foods in this house. It's enough to eat for a while. The most urgent problem is solved, and the next step is about exercise. Lin Qin looked at Zhang Shui and called her over. In the future, follow Nan Wei to learn fighting skills, and when everyone is going to be a teacher, we will go out together. By the way, then we still have to go out to hunt the zombies. After all, the less zombies will help us in the future. Nan Wei, the wounds on you will have a good injury these days. The space of the living room is quite large. I am changing the place we're training. After speaking, Lin Qin let them go down. I looked at the empty living room alone and started planning. The treadmill in the basement is still there, but it is unlikely to move up. The treadmill is not small. After studying, Lin Qin decided to change the living room to 2 practice space. One is used to exercise strength. One is used to exercise reactions. As for the woven basket hanging on the wall before, Lin Qin decided to move to the living room on the 2nd floor first. Otherwise, you can only climb to the small terrace on the roof. But the temperature outside is not low now, and the big sun has been sweating before it has been practiced for a while. The exercise power is nothing more than dumbbells. For the reaction ability, Lin Qin decided to install a sandbag. Every time he punch it, and avoid the ejection of the sandbag. If it is not a matter of material, you can still beat the stakes. But unfortunately, nothing. You can only practice an ordinary sandbag. As for the treadmill, Lin Qin was placed directly near the staircase entrance. It will not be hindered here, nor will they be hit by the sandbags that are shaking back and forth. Anyway, in the space of 100 or 200 flats, except for the bedroom is still very large, it is enough to place these. When deciding his mind, Lin Qin began to get busy. 2 women downstairs with food. The anxiety in the heart is also at ease. The house is a villa after all. It is not a big problem to live in 3 people. Zhang Shui looked at Nan Wei, and she was particularly relaxed. I'm going to do breakfast. What do you want to eat? Nan Wei laughed. What's there? 2 people talked while walking. Zhang Shui shook his head. It's not clear. Wait for us to go to the refrigerator to see. I remember that I saw it was quite full before. The 2 people's laughter gradually drifted away. Lin Qin is also in nervous transformation. If you want to engage in sandbags, you must have a ceiling, but Lin Qin has no drilling machine. It can only be retired, and the second transformation is simple. The whole process is actually the process of handling. It is not difficult except for sandbags. When Lin Qin was almost done, the scent of buns downstairs passed out. After patting his hands, Lin Qin went downstairs. I saw 2 plates of buns and 3 cups of soy milk on the dining table in the living room. There is also a plate of fritters, roughly estimated, and there are 5 or 6 roots. These things were stuffed into the refrigerator when he had nothing to do in the middle of the night. But okay. Otherwise, you may have to eat rice porridge today. You know, the scent of rice is not small. It's so hot that the soy milk fritters are hot, and the taste is not particularly large. Go to wash your hands and eat quickly. Nan Wei held the chopsticks, and Zhang Shui looked up at Lin Qin Road. Lin Qin wanted to pull the chair and sat down, so he had to get up and wash it. Eat breakfast quickly and full. There is basically nothing after a meal, and 3 people do their own things. When the digestion was almost the same as noodles, the 3 people went upstairs and exercised each other. But where did this treadmill come from? Nan Wei and Zhang Shui looked at each other, but the 2 people said nothing. During the exercise, the time was actually passing quickly. The 2 did not disturb each other, and they had already been sweating. Nan Wei did not participate in exercise due to the wound problem on her body. Lunch is now 3 people, and Nan Wei and Zhang Shui will cook again. A lot of food and drinking in the bedroom upstairs. Yu reading book www.yuukangshu.net. The most important thing is that Lin Qin's refrigerator is very large and very large. The dishes inside should deal with the 3 of them and 2 dishes a day, which is still wrong. Even if it is 5 dishes a day, Lin Qin can actually be supplied. But always cover people's eyes. But in order not to let the taste spread, the 3 did not eat too much dish. After all, there's so many foods in total. One day, in the morning and evening, they have to save money. After lunch, Lin Qin checked the surveillance as usual. Make sure that there is no abnormality around. Sleep at noon. After all, I didn't sleep well last night. Zhang Shui went back to make up after lunch. After they woke up, Lin Qin had already exercised upstairs. In the evening, Lin Qin also went downstairs to take a bath first to prepare ingredients. Tonight, he intends to eat well and prepare to eat hot pot. This is also the first assembly of their team. What kind of base beef balls, fat beef, and fat sheep, all the whole plate. Lin Qin then put the induction cooker in the middle of the table. Essence. Drag the plug in board and plug in. The fragrance of the scent of hot pot. Zhang Shui sweaty under the guidance of Nan Wei. Can't help but stop. Sister Nan Wei, do you have the taste of smelling hot pot? Nan Wei took a deep breath and moved his eyes. It seems really. 2 people look for taste and walk down on the 3rd floor. I saw Lin Qin in the living room was sitting in front of the dining table. There are all kinds of hot pot ingredients on the table. In the middle of the table, there is a spicy hot pot bottom. On the table not far from this dining table, there are also a lot of seasoning parsley to be beef sauce and so on. This hot pot, not much to say, is definitely the taste of hot pot restaurants. Lin Qin had previously ran a hot pot restaurant to copy the seasoning dishes, small ingredients, fruits, and ice cream. You know, this hot pot restaurant, but my favorite hot pot restaurant. It's a pity. After the beginning of the end, his member card also had a coupon worth 158 dragon meat. Blood loss. Anyway, it takes 99 to apply for a member card. Eat a book back. But these are also very good. Absolutely enough to eat. Zhang Shui looked at the table full of food and was unbelievable. Oh my God, Lin Qin, where do you come from? You are simply the treasure box of a dream. Nan Wei was also very happy to watch the table. Unexpectedly, you can eat a hot pot. Okay, so hurry up and wash your hands to eat and eat. The 2 nodded. Zhang Shui ran directly over and washed. Rinse quickly and spend much time. Zhang Shui came out for almost 10 minutes. The meat in the pot got 2 plates of fat beef, and it was cooked for a long time. Nan Wei sat over after washing her hands, waiting for Zhang Shui to come. Wow, there's so many spices here. Oh, everything. Nan Wei looked at the seasonings on the table behind. There are even neat watermelons and oranges. It's exactly the same as the hot pot restaurants. However, Nan Wei was not Zhang Shui, not so confused. But she didn't break. If you eat and drink, it must be good. Zhang Shui quickly came out, sitting beside him immediately, watching Lin Qin, who looked delicious at the table. What day today is so delicious? Lin Qin's beer and juice, while opening the lid and said, "This meal is not eaten in vain." Huh, what about it? Zhang Shui is unknown, and the seasoning table behind him will call out a bowl of dipping with those who prepare minced garlic, coriander, and so on. Back to the dining table, Lin Qin also poured a drink at this time. Do you drink fruit juice or beer? Nan Wei, beer bar xiaoxua, what do you want to drink? Zhang Shui, you all drink beer, I will come a little too. Are you hurt? Be sure to drink beer. Lin Qin asked for an eyebrow. Nan Wei hooked his lips. Rest assured, of course, it does not affect. Lin Qin did not matter if he answered. There are a lot of beer. Lin Qin was distributed 1 can. After everyone sat down, Lin Qin said, "Come on, this meal today is the first time for us to eat chopsticks." Group meal? What do you mean? Nan Wei stretched the chopsticks to pinch a fat beef full of chopsticks, dipped in the sauce. It's the birth of our team. Lin Qin agreed with Nan Wei's words and looked at Zhang Shuidao. Yes, to celebrate the birth of the team. The three of us are now a team. Lin Qin said the scene. Nanwei nodded and Zhang Shui, and did not refute. The three people were harmonious and raised a drink. The bottom of the pot is a bit spicy, but fortunately, the three people are not spicy. After shabu beef, lamb, fish fillets, shrimp slippery, boneless duck claws, beef balls, and so on. The hot pot of the three people also eats very well. However, because of joy, Zhang Shui and Nan Wei accidentally drank. By the time the dinner was not over, the two women shook their heads drunk, and their words were unclear. Lin Qin was also very sober, and he could only send two people back to the room. Zhang Shui was soft and watched Nan Wei crying and laughing. Sister Nan Wei, my brother, I can't see it anymore, oh. Nan Wei is a little better, but it doesn't look very good. The hazy eyes narrowed into a line. The cheeks were crimson, and they would like to vomit. Holding a beer can with one hand and one finger at Zhang Shui to comfort. Oh, what are you afraid of? This is not us, even if you can't contact your brother anymore. But there are two people with Lin Qin. Rest assured, I won't let you be homeless. After a while, wait, I will send you to the withdrawal point with Lin Qin. Okay. Even if he was drunk, Zhang Shui looked surprised and smiled with his eyebrows. Stretching his hands and leaning forward, the two were next to each other. Zhang Shui said happily, really, Sister Nanwei. But that Lin Laz. Lin Qin, I don't necessarily send me. Oh, what to do? Can I not go? Ooh. Zhang Shui was still crying, but she didn't know what she was talking about at all. Lin Qin was full of disgust. For this wine, don't be shameful in the future. Nanwei reached out and patted her shoulder for comfort. But Zhang Shui was still crying, and he heard Lin Qin's big head. At this sound, even if he had a sound insulation bubble pad, he was afraid that the zombies outside were coming by this movement. He got up. Reading www.ukanshu.net raised Zhang Shui from the chair. But she is not lightweight, especially the drunk body without any strength. All rely on Lin Qin's strength. Lin Qin said at Nanwei, I'll send her back to sleep first. Nanwei held his elbow on the desktop and rubbed his head with both hands. Hearing Lin Qin's voice, she didn't lift her head, but just raised her hand and waved. Zhang Shui was not very honest. Lin Qin was supported at the beginning, and she was not honest at all. Her legs were shaking, walking down and fell down. Lin Qin couldn't. She could only hug her up and climbed up the stairs and returned to the room. Now the weather is hot, and there is nothing in the room. It still looks empty. There is only a thin blanket on the bed. Lin Qin directly threw people on the bed, watching Zhang Shui drunk in the bed blindly, and finally found a comfortable position and lay down to sleep. Lin Qin looked at the scene at the corner of it, and there was a sound from outside, and Nan Wei was still awake. I had climbed up myself. Lin Qin closed the door of the room and walked out, and Nan Wei fell forward. Lin Qin's subconscious response supported forward, and he was full. Nan Wei stood firmly and pushed Lin Qin. Thank you, it's okay. I can go by myself. Drink too much, you have to sleep for a while. After that, Nan Wei returned to his room and closed the door. Lin Qin shook his head helplessly, then returned and continued to eat hot pot. There's still many foods in the hot pot. After these things are cooked, they're fishing out of the big soup bowls. Other foods that have not finished the surroundings are looking back. Turn off the key to turning off the induction cooker. Lin Qin went directly to the basement. During this time, Lin Qin never came to the basement. Fortunately, the basement was renovated and the entrance was more hidden. No one discovered this time. Lin Qin glanced at the time on the phone and then opened the hidden door and walked in. The basement was dark, and Lin Qin found the switch for a while. When the light was on, Lin Qin went down the stairs. The screen of the computer is still on, exuding weak light. Inside is the monitoring of all corners of the villa area. Through the computer's magnifying screen, you can clearly see every corner. Lin Qin's full bowl of meat was eaten on the coffee table in front of him, while watching the surveillance content around him. The hot pot they eat tonight tastes heavy. After eating for almost 2 hours, this taste should be far away. Whether there are still people live in this villa area, look at this time tonight. If you want to completely safely clean up the zombies in the villa area, Lin Qin must know the situation here. In the corner of the monitoring, 2 households lit a candlelight. After watching it a few times, the only 2 households who can see from the appearance. The 2 households have little threat. If they do not take the initiative to find trouble, Lin Qin will not take the initiative to provoke them. One night's calm. Lin Qin stared at the meat that was taken out of the hot pot while watching the monitor. After eating, it is time to be quiet at night. Lin Qin returned upstairs and packed the meatballs that were not eaten on the table and put it back to the frozen room. These things can be eaten again tomorrow. On the bottom of the hot pot, Lin Qin fell into the green belt outside and then buried with soil. The taste will not spread too fast. After handling, Lin Qin returned to his bedroom, for bad and Basha lying on it, and fell asleep. This is the case today. Let's talk about tomorrow. On the line, Lin Qin gradually fell asleep. On the first day, I slept directly until the day. The 3 people in the room were familiar with them, and no one had to wake up. Today's weather is very clear, wind, and sunny. There is no other exposure. But today it will be more lively outside. After all, the airdrop is materials and weapons. If you want to live, you must not miss it. There will be many people outside today. But even so, the 3 people in the early morning were still asleep. It is important not to realize that today's situation is very important. The buzzing of the helicopter outside the house, plus a high-altitude aircraft over. Lin Qin was awake from his sleep, rubbing some headache. After sitting from the bed, Lin Qin heard the sound of helicopter outside. As the plane flew farther and farther, the roar became farther and farther. Lin Qin got out of bed and went directly to the only bedroom on the 3rd floor. Standing on the balcony out, the sky is blue, the sky is clear. You can clearly see a lot of white points floating down. As they're getting closer and the colors are getting more and more obvious. Is this airdrop? For alcohol? Lin Qin's response was a bit dull. But just a moment, he recalled it back. Oh, roar. It really is. I almost forgot that a large area of airdrop supplies began today. The movement outside was not small, and the 2 women in the room gradually woke up. The 2 people rubbed their painful heads and listened to the sound outside. Zhang Shui, what are you doing? The sound is so loud. Nan Wei, don't complain. It is estimated to be an airdrop. Zhang Shui's original confused head passed through Nan Wei, and he immediately sobered a lot. She pushed away her door and opened the sliding door that entered the balcony. I stretched my head and looked out. Through the anti-theft window, the blue sky Zhang Shui outside can still see clearly. The densely packed materials on it reflected clearly. Wow, Nan Wei, you can look at it, a lot of supplies. Nan Wei walked in with his head, and the 2 women looked out across the anti-theft window. So many supplies. Do we really not pick up? Let's see what Lin Qin said. I may have to count when I get injured. Nan Wei shrugged his shoulders and returned to the bedroom. Zhang Shui, standing on the balcony, could only be died. Lin Qin, who was standing on the 3rd floor, naturally heard the conversation between the 2 of them. It's not impossible to go out. They can use the rushing zombies outside for practical exercises, or take them to see how others grab the materials. But the problem is that today's zombies are the most mixed with people. Due to the problem of airdrops, many other survivors will definitely go out and grab the supplies and the air investment. Walking from the 3rd floor, Lin Qin's heart is serious. 1 large barrel of clean water in the bathroom, as well as half a barrel. The 2 women have been washed clean. Perked up with Lin Qin. Wake up. Nan Wei greeted enthusiastically. Lin Qin nodded, opened the bathroom, and walked in. Brush your teeth and wash your face. After cleaning up, Lin Qin took out the bread from the refrigerator. 3 people were sitting in front of the dining table, and no one had spoken by www.yukangshu.net. The rapid decline in airdrops outside, and many have already fallen in various positions. Some even fell on the roof and drank water. Lin Qin looked at them and thought about it. Just eat it today, let's wait to go out. What to do? Nan Wei asked. Lin Qin took a bite of bread and said directly, don't you want to go out to pick up airdrops? It is impossible to pick up, but we can go out to find a place to practice. We all need practical experience. Just right. A large number of airdrops outside will attract a lot of survivors to pick up equipment and supplies, which can attract the attention of most zombies. A few parts are not too threatened to us. Just take this opportunity to practice our practical experience. After Lin Qin said, Zhang Shui and Nan Wei were a little surprised. You know, Lin Qin didn't want them to go before. Suddenly loosen now, it's not right. You won't have any other plans. Suddenly you change your decision before. It looks like a conspiracy. Nan Wei didn't believe it. Zhang Shui didn't believe it. But practicing them really needed. After all, the last practical exercise has not been faced with the zombies for a long time. Lin Qin drank milk. Our team's strength is still too weak. If it is really stared at in the later period, we don't have much ability to protect themselves. Xiao Xue, your bow and arrows are still poor. You should exercise as soon as possible. As for Nan Wei, I found it last time with your bow and arrow. Very accurate practiced. Nan Wei was suddenly named and took a bite of the bread. While I have practiced before, it is a player of the shooting team, but then I did not continue. My parents cultivated me from the bottom. I have also practiced a bit of three-legged cats. You know this too. But in the matter of bow and arrow, I can help you give you pointers. But that is, I may not go out with you. The wound on my arm, this zombie, can't smell the taste. Lin Qin looked at the gauze entangled in her body. In fact, the worst injury she suffered was on her arm, followed by scratches on the calf. But these days have been scabbing. The biggest wound has not been fully, so thoroughly on the arm. But no harm. I have wind oil essence, flower dew, which one do you want? Nan Wei. Intersection. What's the meaning? The smell of wind and oil and flowers is large, which can cover the bloody smell on the body and destroy the sense of smell of zombies. Principles, in fact, it is a bit similar to the smell of stinking of the garbage station. After entering, you can only smell the smell, and you can't smell other tastes. In short, it is to cover your bloody smell. How do you know? Nan Wei was surprised. In terms of case, it is impossible for him to know so much. However, Lin Qin just smiled mysteriously. His sleeping garbage was not asleep in vain. Since it can be solved, I will go out with you. The three people eat breakfast quickly. Everyone returned to their room and packed them out at will, and walked out of the backpack. The two women are obviously more excited than Lin Qin. Standing in the living room, Lin Qin handed the bow and arrow with the bags full of arrows to two people and solemnly reminded, after going out, you have to listen to my command, otherwise I won't save you. Lin Qin was very serious, and Zhang Shui couldn't help but panic and nodded in a hurry. Not to mention Nan Wei. She is more experienced than Zhang Shui. But before departure, you need to prepare. Lin Qin took the mask and distributed it. These viruses are parasitic in the human body. The symptoms of fever are only initial. In order to avoid being infected with the zombies, the mask must be worn well. After speaking, Lin Qin took out the eye mask again. Masks are transparent, which can be understood as protective eyes used in swimming diving. This thing must be worn well, and it can play a key role when necessary. In case the zombie flutter, the mucus drip, at least it will not enter your eyes. Otherwise, I will solve you before you confirm that the infection virus becomes a zombie. No matter how hot, you can't open it. After distributing, Lin Qin stopped. With a mask and glasses, it should be a lot safer. But the hand, as long as there is no wound in your hand, disinfection in time, the probability of infection should not be high. Wearing gloves is inconvenient. And it is so hot outside, it is the limit to wear a mask and glasses. It's not convenient to bring a glove. And it's hot. Rest assured, I don't want to become those ugly zombies. And it hurts to be bitten. Zhang Shui said, with a disgusting expression. Nan Wei nodded and wore the glasses and masks. Looking at everyone is ready. Lin Qin took the school bag back and then opened the door of the room. Three people went out, passed through the trail in front of the villa. There were not many zombies in the villa, and it was resolved by the person who broke in last night. At present, in the villa area, there should be only the zombies that person mutated. So the three people went out smoothly. Facing the road in front of the villa door of Lanxiang Lake, there are a lot of fallen leaves. Fortunately, there is no zombie figure. Lin Qin walked in front of them and turned to another road. It has come at noon. There are few people in the villa area. different air, made smoke floats in the sky in the distance. At this time, there are not many people in all sizes or other positions that can hide. It's so quiet that the zombies are not here. They are relatively remote here, and they still need to find a place with a higher geographical location in order to practice well. It's just that Lin Qin is unfamiliar. He is not familiar with here. When Lin Qin was still considering it seriously, he suddenly thought that Zhang Shui was not an intermediary. She said yesterday that she had seen the house nearby before, and she always lives here. So should we be very fingering for the situation nearby? Lin Qin stopped. Look at Zhang Shui next to him. When Zhang Shui detecting Lin Qin's sight, she froze. What's wrong? You should be more familiar with this place. There are not many people. The geographical location is higher, or we can climb up. At least you can't be blocked by the zombies on the road and sit on the road. Zhang Shui was asked for a while, but I thought about it. There seemed to be there. There's a remote position, but it is different from our side. The denseness of the house over there is relatively low, and the highest is the 3-story small ocean building. Then, you read the small house www.ukangshu.net, a small alley. That is the commonly known as the village in the city. But that place is not as bad as you think. It looks pretty bright and beautiful outside. The surrounding night market small commodity street is quite complete. It can no longer go inside. It may be a bit average. It's a bit antique. In fact, the building of the house is relatively old, still a long time ago. All look not good. Lin Qin lowered his eyes and then asked, "Far?" Zhang Shui shook her head. "Not far, just at the 2 intersections in front. There are a lot of empty people over there. It is a shopping mall, but there are few people here, and the investment promotion is not good. So it is vacant, and there are only a few." Lin Qin nodded and continued to go. He knows. I haven't seen such a geographical opening of the mall before. As long as there is a place, there is no problem. There are a lot of dead branches on the road, and a hot wind blows a lot. However, the long-term desolation, coupled with the zombies' invasion, looks more and more endless. On the side of the road, there are traces of smashing meat everywhere in the street shops. 3 people wore a traffic light and saw 5 stacked bodies. The crows stood on the edge of the carrion and ate carrion. When they saw someone coming, they flashed their wings and hovered. A proper empty city sense. Zhang Shui beating her heart. Pull Lin Qin's sleeves tightly. Nanwei held the bow and arrow tightly and looked around and could not help whispering. How long is this place? It becomes like this. Sister Nanwei, isn't you going out before? Zhang Shui didn't run too much. She only knew that those people in the community burned and grabbed and ran out of hardships, just ran opposite the road. Except for those zombies, she has seen it, but this is the first time she came out in her sense. Nanwei's voice was lighter, looking at the surrounding situation, and at the same time, replied Zhang Shui. The same, it's even worse. Lin Qin's ears moved slightly, and suddenly said, "Hush, don't talk. There's noise." 3 people are alert instantly. Under Lin Qin's leadership, he ran to the green belt on the roadside, squatting down. Just when I hit a good figure, I saw a figure not far away. Then the second, the third. The time for these people to cross the road is not together. There's an order before and after. In the previous mall, a yellow and red airdrop box was hung on the 2nd floor platform in front of the mall. The smoke logo on the airdrop box is gone. These people should also be for the pass for the empty investment box. Nanwei looked at the corner of the front and couldn't help but whispered. Unexpectedly, there are air pockets on our side, still too. Zhang Shui, I don't feel good. There should be a lot of people over there. Lin Qin, are you going? Zhang Shui, a bit retreating. Nanwei, do you change place? Zhang Shui, agree. Lin Qin, is this scared? Didn't you still shout to the evacuation point yesterday? It's much worse than the evacuation point than it is now. Zhang Shui, then I will take back my words yesterday. The question is what to do now. Someone must be staring near those 2 airdrop boxes. Don't worry first, wait. Lin Qin sat directly on the ground and waited at ease. Fortunately, the narrow road behind this green belt is a motor lane. The dense trees on the roadside will help them get cold for free, and it will not be too sunny. so I'll just rest. Lin Qin took his own telescope and turned on the distance towards the oblique direction. From the surroundings of the airdrop, Lin Qin moved from left to right and saw some people who probe the brain. There are really a lot of people staring. It is estimated that after these people wait and see, they will run over without a threat. However, this position is not true, and you can see it for 2 steps to see it completely. After thinking about it, Lin Qin squatted and moved forward a few steps, looking up from time to time to see whether he could see the situation there. Zhang Shui and Nanwei looked at Lin Qin's movement. Although they were puzzled, they also learned to move forward. Almost a short period of time, Lin Qin stopped. Looking up at the telescope to look at the distance, the situation changes there. Well, he retracted those words he just. Were these people cautious? Obviously watching the fire from the shore and watching the lively. On the other side of the airdrop box, it is not possible to get off at this time. I looked at it roughly, and there were more than 10 or 20 people. The scene is extremely chaotic. Next to the airdrop, a lot of corpses were lying. Someone ran away, and someone grabbed back halfway. Just like this. Those who grabbed the supplies did not dare to stay, and those who did not grab the supplies just wanted to take it back. The person who got the weapon began to wield and grab the others. Well, the good news is to meet the airdrop. The bad news is that it is gone. The people who just saw the onlookers who dared not come forward were seeing the situation in the distance and did not dare to come forward to find death. Just plan to wait until the end of it, and then go to see the specific situation. In case you can pick up, many people hold this mind. Lin Qin is not interested in supplies, but the movement over there is so big that the zombies should not be less. Taking advantage of these people's attention there, the 3 of them quickly entered the opposite of the mall and climbed up. Opposite that mall, he remembered that when Zhang Shui introduced before, it seemed to be a small creative industrial park. The place is not big. Lin Qin made his mind and was overwhelmed. Opposite the shopping mall store is the industrial park. I remember when you introduced it to me before. It seems that there is an industrial park nearby. Zhang Shui nodded. Yes, it is an industrial park, but it is very small and not big. There are 3 buildings inside along the roadside. Oh yes, the mall I told you before. In fact, it was because of this creative industrial park. After all, there were many people who want to work here, and they were remote. Deer open here, and there are a few others. Lin Qin didn't listen. It's not big anyway. Lin Qin said, Go to this industrial park. Your 2 weapons are taken, and you need to use it back. Lin Qin looked at there and confirmed that these people would not pay attention to it, and they stood up generously. Their speed is fast. Although Nanwei and Zhang Shui look less reliable, they're still a bit useful at this time. After a while, they came to the industrial park in Zhangzhuiku. It is not actually the industrial park. It is 3 tall buildings along the roadside. This building is not very good. Lin Qin took a look. Climbing dozens of layers from below, let alone whether it will be exhausted, there should be a lot of zombies in it. After all, when a zombie broke out, it was when working to work. However, this is also inaccurate. The sound outside the past few days was not small, and most zombies should not be inside the building. Standing downstairs. You reading books www.net Zhang Shudao. What are you looking at? Not here. Do you dare to enter this building? Well, just in front. Did you see the 2-story shop on the opposite side of it? Behind the 2nd floor shop is the community. These shops around the community. But the 2nd floor is just right. It's best to go up. Okay, go. Lin Qin took a deep breath, and the figures of the 3 were sneaky. Even if the people over there are discovered, they will not be remembered. They only want to share. Lin Qin looked at the distance. Under the blessing of the telescope, at the end of the road in the distance, several scattered zombies appeared. In other alleys in the distance, zombies also came. As for the zombies in other positions, Lin Qin is currently unclear. Before these zombies arrived, the 3 of them had to climb to the top of the 2-story shop as soon as possible. The 3 were quite smooth, and no one stopped them. When I was about to climb the stairs in the community, the zombies rushed out of the room on the 1st floor, stopped the road. Lin Qin was quickly accurate, grabbing the shoulder of Zhang Shui in front of the front. Zhang Shui was startled, but still did not make much sound. Nan Wei stood in the narrow staircase and stopped the bow, an arrow in his hand. Attempts to leave the distance between the zombies and Zhang's Lincoln. But the zombies were huge, and the teeth were yellow and black. With a snap, the bow and arrow broke directly. Lin Qin gave Zhang Shui to Nan Wei, and he directly took the zombie back to the door where he ran out. Then he quickly pulled out an axe, cutting his head for a while. The dirty blood in the zombie's head splashed on the white wall in the corridor. A bad smell spread throughout the space. Nan Wei held Zhang Shui's shoulders, and the two looked at Lin Qin nervously. When Lin Qin resolved the zombie back, the two looked at him nervously. "It's okay." Lin Qin raised his hand and wiped the blood splattered on the glasses and shook his head. "It's okay. Be careful. It's not necessarily safe here." After Lin Qin wiped it clean, he saw that Nan Wei's bow and arrow had been broken. It must not be used. He moved the backpack behind him and took a small axe out of the inside. The axe is just as big as I just took out. Holding a small axe is not the same. Watching Lin Qin hand over, Nan Wei reached out and took it. She has no weapons now. The only bows and arrows were also cut into 2 pieces by the zombies. The little axe, for her, still takes advantage of it. After Lin Qin resolved the zombie, he pulled Nan Wei's body away, walked behind, and closed the big iron gate. On the iron gate is the access control of this residential house. However, after the electricity was broken, these access controls had no effect. However, it is quite solid to resist the zombies outside, can still resist 1 or 2. Lin Qin found the hemp rope first to ensure that it is stronger, but the access control is generally not opened. After all, for the outside zombies, they are rushing forward. The door of this access control was pushed open again, and when he rushed forward, the door would be deducted. As for the hemp rope, Lin Qin is afraid of, so I just prepared. After solving this zombie, Lin Qin handled the door again, and then took 2 women upstairs. Although Zhang Shui was scared, he also knew that he could not make a sound at this time, so as not to be besieged by zombies. She was afraid of good, but she was not really stupid. 3 people walked along the stairs all the way. The white wall is still normal, and it is still white, and some wall skin falls in the corner. As for the scratching and blood stains, but even so, you can't relax your vigilance. Otherwise, just like when he came in, a zombie suddenly came out. Fortunately, there were not many accidents in the back. Lin Qin climbed to the 2nd floor and stood at the entrance of the stairs and looked at the window above. The windows are closed and can only push away half a fan. Lin Qin couldn't help it, took off the school bag behind him, found a pass in it, and then took out the big pliers. Below the window, there's an iron film support. As long as you cut this, you can push the window completely out. Nan Wei and Zhang Shui looked up and down the stairs nervously, like the left and right protection method. Fortunately, there was no abnormality. Lin Qin also successfully opened. He stretched his head and looked out to ensure that the platform was safe. Then looked at Zhang Shuidao. "Xiao Xue, your body is the most petite. You pass first, I drag you." Zhang Shui blinked, as well as, "Look at the window and look at Lin Qin and Nan Wei. Also, she is the smallest." If she asked her to hold Nan Wei and Lin Qin, her little body was really not good. Nodded, Zhang Shui approached the window. Lin Qin raised her lightly, and Nan Wei also came over to help. Zhang Shui grabbed the edge of the window sill and went out to stand up with the help of the 2 people behind him. The windows are not very large, opening on Lin Qin's chest. You have to support to go out. After Zhang Shui went out, Nan Wei was also carried on his shoulders by Lin Qin. But Nan Wei's weight is particularly obvious. As soon as he raised, Lin Qin widened. "Nan Wei, how heavy are you? It's time to lose weight." Nan Wei, who was carried, flushed his cheeks and couldn't help but whispered, "I didn't eat much." Zhang Shui over there stretched out Nan Wei's hand and dragged her over, and couldn't help laughing. "Lin Qin, don't say that. Sister Nan Wei is tall and weighs normal. If she is the same as me, it will not be thin and weak." Soon, Nan Wei passed smoothly. Lin Qin looked back, and there was no place where he couldn't step on. It seemed that he could only hold the window with his feet up with his bare hands. When I was a kid, I did not climb less, but I did not expect to be used here. Lin Qin went through the upper body, smoothly. The two women dragged one left and right, and successfully stood firmly. After patting his hands, Lin Qin turned back and closed the window. The platform on the second floor is not very clean. The cement is black, and there are some weeds from the gap. The most important thing is that there are some dirty things from high-level parabolic. But there are places where you have. The three found a plain place to squat down. Lin Qin looked at the telescope and found that the zombies were coming. Several people who snatched materials in the distance are still busy. However, snatching must have risks, but a few people died. Looking at it from a distance, there are a few people watching a few people. But it is normal. UU reading books www.uukangshu.net. This is dead. It's so big that the movement is so big, maybe even if you look at it. Several people were very conscious of current affairs, but the airdrop box continued to fight. From the beginning of the 10 people at the beginning, there are only 5 people left on the top. I don't know if I successfully run away and escape the interception, or it has been resolved on the spot. However, Lin Qin's goal is not the supplies in their hands. With a telescope, he can clearly see the situation there. Several people who rushed directly through the mall rushed to the fight, and for a while they dodged around. Lin Qin smiled. These people are too grinding. After taking the east, west tube, so much, just run. It's still grinding. After watching Lin Qin, he then gave the telescope to Nanwei. Till you two are here, I'll go out. Nanwei's bow and arrows were gone, and she could only take out the storage space to her. But the problem is that he cannot always take it out in front of them. Especially the bow and arrow backpack cannot be put. 2 people nodded and continued to observe the situation outside. Lin Qin gave his bow and arrow to Nanwei, and then left himself. Once born, 2 cooked. Lin Qin is already proficient in things like turning the window. He first opened the door of others in the room on the second floor and went in search. 2 women in the family had nothing to change their washing clothes. Lin Qin just looked at the pattern in the house and searched the closet. He took other people's clothes and stuffed it directly into the school bag. He has a lot of school bags. After full, Lin Qin left. There was also a bow and arrow. After Lin Qin returned, the 2 women looked at his school bag confused. Where are you going? Search for something so full. It's not bad. I searched you some clothes for you. Zhang Shui took Lin Qin's school bag and looked at the clothes full of clothes in the backpack. The bow and arrow behind him saw it. Lin Qin noticed her gaze and couldn't help laughing. How about good luck? Packing properly, Lin Qin began to be near the edge of the second floor. He held his sleeves and looked at the zombies downstairs. Okay, come over. Now, everyone has a bow and arrow to practice the accurate head. After the bows and arrows have been practiced, we usually practice the reaction ability at home. Of course, this is something. Xiaoxue, your technology is the most bad. Nanwei will guide you next to it. Lin Qin ordered one by one. The zombies downstairs looked 20 or 30. This number is actually not enough for the 3 of them to practice. But if Xiaoxue can be alone, there will be more than a measure. Forget it, let her practice first. Nanwei stepped forward and adjusted Zhang Shui's less accurate bowing posture. With Nanwei's help, Zhang Shui's progress was rapid. The scorching sun was shining, and the 3 were sweaty. Lin Qin raised his hand to wipe the sweat beads on his forehead and looked at the airdrop box in front. On the road in the distance, the zombies smelled the bloody smell. Many people died over there, and the blood on the ground was scattered in the air. More and more zombies come together. However, the goal is several fresh corpses over the airdrop box. The zombies were looking for the taste and aimed at these corpses madly. Then more and more gathered. Each corpse forms a circular encirclement. Gradually, more and more. From a distance, the zombie's body, the sound of eating, was dense. Lin Qin only felt numb. But there are a lot of looking at the number. So many, enough to practice. Nanwei is still guiding. Lin Qin also started aiming at the bow and arrow. The 3 of them are currently in Nanwei's arrows, followed by him, and then Xiaoxue. If you can get the muffler, you can practice what break. Holding a gun directly, he killed. It is not because there is no muffler, whether it is a pistol, those in the shooting hall, or the assault rifle just got yesterday. None of the muffler. Isn't these arrows practicing now just to solve these zombies silently? Obviously, they're guns, but it cannot be used directly. In the opinion of Lin Qin at this moment, practicing bow and arrows was a bit wasteful. The gun can't always be a furnishings. Yes, it is not the time to practice the bow and arrow. Still find a way to get the muffler. But where's the muffler, and where can I get it? Police station? No, the police station may not have it. And after so long, other surviving survivors must have been there. So where is there? Lin Qin pulled the bows and arrows aiming at the zombies in the distance. His eyes were godless, but his brain was constantly thinking about the problem of the muffler. With guns, they can actually do more. Lin Qin returned to God and found that in the zombies crowded together in the distance, 2 zombies wearing special police clothes appeared. They were still hung on their bodies. Lin Qin's eyes stared straight, and he couldn't help but let go of the bow and arrow in his hand. Take out the telescope and look at it. 2 black special policemen. The special policemen were fighting for food among a bunch of zombies and desperately squeezed them inside. But there are too many zombies. As new zombies, they're still children stages. Under the experienced old zombies, they couldn't squeeze in. Lin Qin looked at the telescope at the waist of the 2 zombies. It seemed that the waist seemed to be hanging on the waist. The weapon is still there. Surprisingly rushed into Lin Qin's brain. Before Lin Qin opened, Nan Wei came over and patted his shoulder. Lin Qin opposite someone. When Lin Qin turned around in surprise, he heard Nan Wei's words. He missed his head and was unknown. I saw Nan Wei reaching out and pointed at the 2nd floor in the front mall. Looking intently, there were a few people standing on the 2nd floor, looking at them. But because the glass reflective of the mall in gray, the naked eyes are a vague villain, which cannot be seen at all. Lin Qin looked back at a glance. Don't be afraid, they care about them. Even if we are aiming, we don't have to worry. To appease Nan Wei, Lin Qin continued near the airdrop. Now his focus is on 2 special police in the group of zombies. No one can stop him from getting the equipment on the special police. Even if it is opposite, it doesn't work. In this way, Xiao Xue, the 2 of you responded here. I want to go opposite. Where are you going to the opposite side? Haven't you seen any other survivors gathered there? Zhang Shuai looked at Lin Qin nervously. I don't quite understand what he used to do, especially the number of zombies underneath. Yu reads www.yukangsha.net, but they are eating now. But those corpses could not support long. These zombies will soon be eaten. At this time, Lin Qin may be discovered by the corpse group and became their goals. Nan Wei did not agree. Inside the mall on the 2nd floor opposite, it is not certain whether these survivors are good or malicious. But it is certain that Lin Qin's channel, close to the corpse group itself, is already dangerous. Lin Qin had no choice but to say, seeing the 2 zombies in black clothes in the corpse group, what did he have on him? Nan Wei Zhang Shui was confused. Reaching for the telescope that Lin Qin came over. Black zombies, guns. The 2 women looked at Lin Qin with a look at the 2 women. They all know what guns mean. But Lin Qin's focus is different from the 2 of them. Gun he has. His focus was that he didn't know if there was a muffler on this zombie. No matter if you have it, you have to get it. He believes that whether it is the military or the police's muffler must be equipped. Why didn't the one yesterday not? It must be lost. After all, the strength of the zombies is not small. If it happens, it may be lost if it happens. However, the most direct possibility is that the number of muffles is limited and some people are not allocated. No matter which one is, in short, there is always one. As long as one is obtained, for Lin Qin, it is equivalent to solving all problems. Nan Wei and Zhang Shui knew the importance of guns. But the question was that it was not clear whether the people on the opposite side also followed the equipment on the zombies. In case the goal is the same, you must prepare early. But if it wasn't, would the other party feel that the other party would be threatened and threatened and threatened? In other words, the other party is not malicious. It was simply being surrounded by zombies. No matter which one is a blocking. Zombie, other survivors. Nan Wei condensed his eyebrows and did not agree. It seems that these zombies don't seem to be in danger, but they still can't take it lightly. We can wait for them to eat and disperse before passing. These two have not squeezed in so far. After the other zombies have been full, they will definitely leave them. We could take measures by then. Zhang Shui. I think she makes sense. For us, the biggest threat is those on the second floor opposite. Lin Qin couldn't help but look at other zombies who are still eating there. These two are indeed the best, and when the zombies inside are full, they don't know if they are full. But Nanwei said it really makes sense, and he knows. Mainly, he was worried that the longer he dragged, the time, there was a change. Lin Qin looked at the situation over there, and finally nodded. After all, he still knows the principle of being anxious to eat hot tofu. The three people didn't practice at this time. I found a shade and sat down and waited for the corpse to eat. And at this time, several survivors on the second floor of the mall kept waving their arms to ask for help at Lin Qin, but they had no response. Seeing that I couldn't see a few figures over there, one of the women could not help but lose. What to do? They don't seem to come to save us. The woman who speaks is Yang Nicole, a manager of this mall. In addition to her, there's also an older grandfather, a man who looks burly, a couple and brother and sister. They were rescued by the special policeman who rescued yesterday as a temporary asylum. Originally, there were rare personnel, and it was still safe to have special police officers. But yesterday, the special police went out to search for other survivors and has not returned so far. The supplies and the air investment outside fell here again. Suddenly, it turned out to be a gathering place for many survivors, and the zombies were also attracted. They dare not go out at all. Save a little effort. Girl, this is a zombie outside. No one dares to run around. We are still waiting for the special policeman to come back here. The person who speaks is the only grandfather here. He was sitting on the long sofa in the clothing store, and he was still holding a stick in his hand. Here, the only single big man, Lu Chong, saw this, and his tone rushed. Looking at Yang Niche's poor attitude. Don't waste your kung fu. You have harmed everyone. Do you know whether the person from the opposite side is good or bad? It's not just you here. Also, Uncle, this special policeman hasn't returned for so long. Maybe it's gone. If you want to see, you can only rely on yourself now. Can you leave if you don't go? I will leave if I don't leave. Speaking, he was about to take the machete left by the special police officer. Most of the zombies outside are not far from the gate of the square downstairs, waiting for two special police officers who do not know if they are dead or alive. It is not reliable to set themselves or dangerous situations. Yang Nicole was stunned, and she couldn't do anything except angry. After all, the other party's force value does not look small. The special police are not there. There is no need to argue with people. Otherwise, it is yourself who is injured in the end. But Grandpa was said to look up unexpectedly to the other party. Lady, your behavior is not moral. You leave alone, but this thing is the only body defense weapon in our bunch of people. What do you mean by taking away? Grandpa's words touched several other young people. After all, the only weapon was given to him because of his ability. However, he did not expect that he had to leave and took away his weapons. Lu Chong didn't want to have a lot of people with these useless people. There is nothing valuable on them. While the zombie's attention is not left here, it is right to leave. Holding the weapon in his hand, he put the blade around the old man's neck and said fiercely, "Shut up, old man. Don't take any time." For a while, a few people in the room did not dare to step forward. A pair of siblings who originally wanted to intervene in the couple and immediately retreated and did not see these in the corner alone. Now it is the best one. Seeing no one, Lu Chong ran out. If it weren't for this group of people, he would never go so decisive. Yang Nicole rushed over and closed the door, looking around. But the light outside is not very good, except for Yang Chong's backless back. Yang Nicole was very nervous, and after closing the door, she was still worried. Seeing the other people in the room, saw no one who spoke. The grandfather couldn't help but sigh. Do evil. Young girl, go and see if the special police brother is back. Yang Nicole nodded and walked to the road below the window. Yu reading book www.yukangshu.net. The crowded zombies continued to eat. Many of them seemed to have left here that they had been full. The number is much less than just now. But there seems to be 2 zombies wearing special police clothes. Young Nicole was frightened and nervous. Strongly stable. No, I didn't see it. Young Nicole's movement seemed a bit problematic, and a little couple sitting in the corner observed it. Step by step to young Nico's side, looking out. I didn't see any difference. When he was about to leave, Yu Guang saw that there seemed to be a problem with the zombies over there. Black Special Police Service. The 2 people looked at each other and collided with Wang Nico. Then I returned to my seat, sitting honestly without saying much. The girl looked up, but saw her boyfriend's eyes interesting. At this time, if you tell everyone that the special police are dead, then the temporary people who have been formed together will inevitably fall apart. Under the flooding of this anxiety, it is difficult to guarantee anything. At this time, I just want to protect my safety. Looking at several other people who do not know, they have different thoughts. They need to find a way to leave here. The people in the team are pregnant with ghosts. This silence was interrupted by the screams suddenly from them all. Lu Chong, who had just rushed out. It was his voice. When the fear struck again, everyone squatted down and hid behind the many clothes shelves. The 2 little couples originally intended to leave here and interrupted it. Nympho. At this time, Lin Qin also heard screams. When he got up and looked around, he saw that the corpse was attracted under this voice. Among them, the 2 zombies were stared at by Lin Qin. What's the situation? The zombies were restless. Seeing that he was about to disappear in his sight, Lin Qin thought about it. In this way, you are waiting here, I passed, and if there will be a zombie chasing, you can help me cover it. No, you are not safe. Lin Qin just bowed his head and pulled out something from his school bag. Take out the intercom and adjust the new intercom channel. You have a good vision here, and inform me of the location of the zombies at any time. It is best to bring the headset. Don't be on the waist. Ask for it. Lin Qin left here. Leave a lot of arrows here. The 2 people who were worried about did not think about Lin Qin's so many things. Just picked up the bow and arrow and prepared to cover at any time. At this time, Lin Qin spared a while. The zombies all ran to the mall. At present, the mall is definitely unsafe. He needs to know where the 2 zombies have gone. Do not go in or not. The muffler is important, but the problem is that there is no life. Lin Qin was leaning on the door of the shop along the street and took out the 95 assault rifle from the storage space yesterday. He took out the magazine, filled the bullets inside, and copied the magazine filled with bullets at the same time. In this way, he can change the bomb in 1 second. The copy of the magazine Lin Qin was installed into the storage space. After finishing it, he installed the dismantled magazine. Hang the gun on his body. Take a deep breath. It is not safe to enter the mall. Even if he was reborn, he was still a vulgar. Unlike those who are only so powerful that they will only be in the mouth of Darth, they really see the zombies, and the first one who scares Yurin is him. After doing a good psychological construction, Lin Qinzheng planned to rush out, and when he saw the slight sound of the jar inside the room, Lin Qin, holding the gun, was alert instantly. Aimed it there. You know, this shop itself is open on the door. In the kitchen inside, if there is any zombie or something, it is not without this. Lin Qin was holding a gun and staring at it vigilantly. See a black figure out of the inside. Lin Qin was startled immediately, but saw the familiar badge. The special police naturally saw Lin Qin and looked at him up and down to ensure that there was no threat. Ordinary citizen? Lin Qin nodded. The special police officer moved the muzzle from him and reached out and touched the position of the head of the helmet. Number 1. Found an ordinary citizen. Found an ordinary citizen. Lin Qin couldn't hear what he said there. But after seeing the special police report, he looked at Lin Qin straight. I don't know what to say. The special police looked at Lin Qin, said directly, "It's frightened. It's okay now. Wait for you. Follow me. Wait for them all opposite to the opposite side." On the second floor, there were several ordinary people I saved yesterday. After 2 other players gathered, we left together and went to the evacuation point. The special police appeased Lin Qin and then bypassed him and ran to the position where Lin Qin had just squatted and looked out. There is no abnormality on the street, and a wolf burrowed around the distance from the distance. It is not difficult to see what happened here. The special police frowned, holding a gun in his hand and observing the outside carefully. Lin Qin leaned forward, and his eyes stared at the straps and muzzle on the special policeman, and then squatted behind the special police. He whispered, "Someone just screamed in the mall, and the zombies were attracted. It's not safe now." As Lin Qin said, he stared at the gun in the hands of the special police. "This gun is better than the one he got yesterday. There is a muffler on it." Lin Qin's eyes were very greedy, but the special policeman observed it, looking back suddenly, looking at Lin Qin. Lin Qin was taken aback and hurriedly recovered his sight. What's wrong?" The special policeman looked at him and then looked at the gun on his back with a serious expression. "Where did you come from this gun?" Lin Qin blinked, picked it up. Fortunately, the special police did not ask, and after getting the answer, he returned. "How long have those zombies been in?" When asked, Lin Qin also recalled it. He noticed when he screamed. Subsequently allocated things. It seems that there is no waste of time. For more than 10 minutes? It's about 10 minutes. 10 minutes? The special police did not say much, but just took out the telescope in the backpack and looked at the shopping mall opposite. The second floor of the mall is not high. Even if the glass outside is a bit reflective and gray, it can still be seen clearly. The survivors that were placed yesterday were at the corner of the second floor. Fortunately, the telescope can see a woman sitting by the glass. They hid. Yu reading books www.yuukangshu.net should be safe. Wang Hao thought for a moment and then said, "It's safe here. After I leave, you go to find a place to hide." Listening to Wang Hao's words, Lin Qin lived. "You won't go in to save them?" "There are a lot of zombies inside. The zombies around the airdrop are almost 30 or 40. No, there are 50 or 60 zombies." However, the other party ignored him at all. Just after bowing his head and finishing the equipment, he said to him, "We come here to search and rescue the survivors. They are taken in me and hid in it. I must bring them out. By the way, there are 3 people who searched and rescued. You go inside to hide with them and wait for me to come back." Lin Qin on the side. He looked back at the back door of the kitchen behind him. After this, there are still people? Lin Qin took a deep breath and saw Wang Hao bring him to the kitchen. Standing at the door, Lin Qin couldn't help looking at the situation inside. There was a meal poured here, and there were some pots and pans to prepare vegetables. Walking in and passing through a door is the place where the kitchen cooks. The door of the room was pushed away, and Lin Qin saw 3 people hidden inside. 2 men, 1 woman. Dirty and unpleasant. Like sweat smell? But this is normal. At the end of the day, stopping power and power outage, and bathing and shampooing have become extravagant. Not even time to take care of yourself. Lin Qin looked at this small space. In contrast to the door, it is a slightly larger window. No wonder the special policeman came out of him. Thinking that it should be to take people into this window, soothe the 3 people, and continue to explore the way. Then I met myself. You stay with them here. You have a gun on your body, holding this gun to protect them. Remember, do not move the grass and shock the snake. Lin Qin was silent again. He just threw himself here? No, right. Isn't he afraid of what he did to these 3 people with weapons? Lin Qin, I took a gun. You're not afraid that I will all of them. Without waiting for Lin Qin to finish, Wang Hao laughed with a somewhat contempt. You shouldn't kill these people is not good for you, but waste your bullets. These people have nothing valuable on their bodies, neither food nor weapons. He dares to be sure that the players will not discard the guns for no reason, so there is only one possibility. It is normal to be taken away, but after becoming a zombie, the bullets in the gun must not be many, whether it is a good person or a bad person. Without sufficient bullets, the only rounds left in the magazine look particularly precious. For a few people who have no value, bullets are much more expensive than them. Lin Qin, brother, you are too upright. A person in the past is a dessert for meals that come to the door. In fact, for those who have guns, there are not many zombies. The firefighting solution of the firearms is still fast. The problem is that the speed of zombies is faster than before, but not standing in place waiting for you. And once there's a sound, the zombies in other places will come. In fact, it is equivalent to a sea tactics. A person with limited supplies and limited ammunition. After playing, it is gone. So don't underestimate these zombies. Although he really makes sense, the problem is that he has a lot of bullets. I thought it was a bit different. However, Lin Qin did not intend to stay. If you stay, you can't touch the muffler. So if you think about it, it's better to keep up. I'll go with you. Someone can deal with these zombies together. There's always a response. Also, you see that they are afraid of me. Even if I stay, it is not good. Wang Hao looked at the direction of Lin Qin's fingers. The three people squatted in the corner and did not dare to see it. Hold a group together. Seeing this, he had to say, "Okay, you come with me." Lin Qin followed Wang Hao as he wished. Wang Hao checked the guns and ammunition and observed the situation while walking. "Follow me. Listen to my command. Don't reckless." Lin Qin nodded solemnly. His eyes still stared at the gun and Wang Hao from time to time. Two people walked across the road and came to the square of the mall unimpeded. The square is not particularly wide. The special police brother is very fast. Lin Qin listened to his command and followed. The mall was particularly quiet at this time, and after the screaming of the scream a few times, it was gone. Want to come? Either die or not. Anyway, the end is not very good. Wang Hao walked at the forefront, and the two came to a platform on the first floor of the mall. It was closer, and Lin Qin found that this mall is not the same as those malls that I usually see. It is composed of a number of separate buildings. In the middle, some flyover of the flyover elevator horizontally connected in the middle of the building. Lin Qin observed the 4 weeks, and then put his gaze ahead. There are many stone pillars surrounding them. Dozens of zombies wandering in front of them. The stone pillars in front of the right are large enough to block the two of them. But the problem is that it can only be blocked, and you have to rush in while the zombies do not pay attention. When you go, the two of them need to be cautious. These zombies cannot be alarmed. After successful entry and finding people, it is not too late after the evacuation. Lin Qin's sight looked at the corpse in front of him, looking for his goals. The probability of the gun in the hand of the special police is not impossible to touch, so most of the hope is still on the two zombies. Thinking about it this way, Lin Qin looked around. But in the zombies in front, the two were not aimed at. Wang Hao observed for a while and turned back to Lin Qin. Lin Qin watched it. To be honest, he couldn't understand. Looking at Lin Qin's appearance, Wang Hao was so angry. He observed the zombies, and then rushed out while the zombie was not noticed, hiding behind the stone pillar. Fortunately, the zombies did not find them. Wang Hao continued to observe, and then scratched the gesture at Lin Qin. This time, Lin Qin understood. He looked at the zombies outside, waiting for Wang Hao's instructions at any time, then fascinating the footsteps and hiding lightly next to him. The position of the stone pillars can cover the shape of the two people. Lin Qin also noticed that there was no sound when he came over. Wang Hao looked at the zombies outside and moved forward again from the back of the pillar. Lin Qin followed behind. Soon, the two came to the escalator. It is just a perfect cover to the zombies over there. After the escalator, they only need to reduce their voice and not be found by the zombies. Wang Hao walked at the forefront, and Lin Qin walked at the end. When they came to the stairs, the two people stuck to the wall and looked at the top of the stairs. There's scratching blood on the walls. The most important thing is that the most important thing for www.yuukangshu.net is that there are traces of dragging on the stairs, meaning all the way upstairs. Wang Hao was solemn and couldn't help but clench his gun. Lin Qin noticed a piece of clothes that dropped in a large blood. Black. It looks like the two special police zombies. Looking at the blood on the upstairs, the phase must go above. Lin Qin was thinking, looked up at the man in front of him, and then followed him. The two people are very slow, because I don't know what the above is. There are a lot of blood on the stairs, and large blockbusters look terrible. Even if they walked up, the traces of dragging on the floor on the second floor were even more obvious. There were even the sound of zombies roar. The two looked at each other and stretched out their heads, seeing that dozens of zombies are constantly eating a corpse in the corridor. The 3 layers inside and the outer 3 layers are surrounded by the surroundings. The joy of eating, they were here, making a sound similar to satisfaction. Lin Qin looked at those zombies and looked for familiar goals. The two were found in the surging zombie group. Lin Qin was a little happy. After all, these two are better than the one opposite him. Wang Hao did not see his two comrades in the corpse group, just watching many zombies gathered together, and took back his head. The corridors where they gather with zombies are the opposite direction, but they will not meet. But they can't find them. These zombies can't find them. It is a tricky issue. Wang Hao watched Lin Qin, who had some thieves in his eyes on the opposite side, and made it difficult for a while. He had definitely no problem in the past. Taking advantage of the zombies to eat, they will not pay attention to the place. But opposite this is a friend of a friend. Can you keep up with the chain? But at this time, we have not taken care of so much. At the right time, Wang Hao took a step. He walked very slowly, and his footsteps were light. Lin Qin studied him with him. Although he wanted to rush over a barrel of shooting, he still didn't do so. Behind him, the humming sound of the zombies continued. Two people walked in the opposite direction of the zombies. From time to time, we look back and observe the situation of the zombies. It's a pity that the corridor is very long, and they have gone very slowly, and they have not yet reached the target location. Lin Qin can only look back at his goal from time to time. Suddenly, some of the sounds from downstairs were the zombies below, and the zombies below collided into the easy cans on the ground. The sound scared Lin Qin and Wang Hao. The two bowed their knees subconsciously and looked back at the zombies behind them. The zombies were alarmed. Several trembling stood up and looked at the eyes of the two. They tilted their heads like moving bones. Lin Qin couldn't help but bring the muzzle and aim at the opposite side. Found? More and more zombies crawl up from the ground, and the posture is very weird. Wang Hao noticed much, and ran Lin Qin and ran. What do you do? Hurry up. The zombies followed behind, sprinkled with their feet, and ran wild. The speed is extremely fast. Seeing that there was no way, Wang Hao grabbed Lin Qin behind him and then fired. The rifle equipped with a muffler is not as powerful as not installed, but the effect is greater than that of not installed. Lin Qin looked at him and was a little struggling inside. This, I still can't open it. People's guns are silent, and this movement will not disturb the other zombies around. At most, they will let them check around, and they will shake again without finding anything. Once you shoot yourself, the problem is big. However, the rifle can be released. These zombies in the corridor are very fast, but they're not as good as bullets. But the number of wins is mostly. Wang Hao whispered while shooting, "Don't say don't shoot, go backwards." Lin Qin nodded and did not forget to look at the two zombies who thought about it in the zombies. Watch while walking. Under Wang Hao's instructions, I saw a rolling gate with a gap of only about 30 centimeters. The gates left a little gap. As for hygiene and gaps, Lin Qin did not think about it this time. Just in panic, Lin Qin found that it was stuck on the falling clothes model. However, at this time, there was no time to take the model of the clothes away, and it would make a sound that was completely pulled down. Lin Qin drilled directly from the gap, trying not to touch the iron skin. The rolling door is soft, and once it encounters, it will sound. Then the meaning of hiding in the blind area of the corner vision is gone. After Wang Hao put Lin cash in, he didn't know what he took out from his pocket. I also quickly disappeared at the gap under the corner from a corner. The two did not dare to move after entering. The zombies outside only saw two people disappearing at the corner, and Hulai ran over and ran forward. I don't know if they didn't smell their smell at all, or they were attracted by what Wang Hao just lost. I did not notice that the two were hidden under the rolling gate. Lin Qin held his breath almost through the gap. Wait until the corpse swatted. Wang Hao dared to move. Lin Qin followed. Those who hid here heard the movement outside, but no one dared to move. Everyone hides where they think they can hide their bodies and dare not make sound. The light in the house was not bright, and Wang Hao walked in front of him. Come in. Lin Qin looked around and followed, and the light was not very bright. But there should be no big problems. A few of them listened to the familiar voice, and they all revealed from the dark. After the two, Lin Qin walked in. Looking at the familiar clothes, everyone came out one by one. Lin Qin looked at the old, weak, and the young and young were mixed in an instant. In fact, it is not all: one old grandfather, two teenagers, three women. In short, this team is really average. No force value. There are so many people, the survivor team. Look at the old grandpa. If you're chased by the zombies, you can't run. Look at the other two pairs, couples. Men's thin woman is weak. You should still run, but if you look at this, you can't help it at all. Lin Qin couldn't help sighing. The behavior of saving people is definitely good, but for the current situation, is a bit tired. It is obviously difficult to rely on Wang Hao alone, but a general team is responsible for an area. At least there are 6 people, 10 people. In short, it is absolutely impossible to rely on a person. When the grandfather saw Wang Hao, he stepped forward with excitement. "Oh, the special policeman, you finally came back. We are all worried about death. You reads www.net. I thought you were something wrong." Lin Qin looked around and found that among these people, only a team of men and women seemed to welcome him back as if he was the old grandfather. And another pair of men and women and another woman seemed to be unbelievable. Isn't the special police back normal? Why is there an incredible expression? It seems that Lin Qin looked at the sight, and the 3 people's expressions were unnaturally avoiding convergence. Under Lin Qin's eyes, they moved closer and opened. "Yeah, you finally came back and worried us." The special police came back to prove that they were safe. No matter what the 2 downstairs are downstairs, this is just the same. "Yeah, we thought you didn't have any news for so long or come back. Whether something went wrong, worried about death." Young Nicole stood at the end of the team and was not so enthusiastic. "But I still said along, everyone." Just seeing the special police officer, the look on his face finally disappeared. Wang Hao stretched out his hand. Everyone's voice was much smaller. Watching him walking in front of the floor to ceiling window and looking downstairs. Several zombies were a little irritating around below. Seeing this, Wang Hao shouted with the walkie-talkie, "Number 4, where's your place now?" Wang Hao was still in contact with the team, and Lin Qin came in. Seeing Lin Qin in a house did not feel surprised, nor was he prepared. After all, Wang Hao came in. Lin Qin looked here. Female clothing stores have a lot of new clothes. The air is filled with the flavor of a new dress. There are trousers, skirts, shoes. However, the brand Lin Qin has seen it, and also, he can count the number of times when he visits the mall. When Lin Qin looked at the surrounding people, the people around him were also looking at him. Grandpa was more enthusiastic and thought that Lin Qin was scared, and enthusiastically stepped forward to solve it. "Don't be afraid of the little brother. This is a special policeman who is here to save us. Now you are with us, don't worry." Lin Qin nodded a little perfunctory. "Okay, got it." After a while, Wang Hao came back and kept the door vigilantly. Lin Qin also passed, staying on the other side. He looked at the special police officer, looked up and down, and asked, "Aren't you retreating? Yesterday I said very clearly. There's also the radio broadcast this morning, and it also said, the way of carpet rescue was canceled and changed to the evacuation point." Wang Hao glanced at Lin Qin and whispered, "It's been withdrawn, but it has been dispersed. The first of the precedent teams that come first need to go to the withdrawal point by themselves. During this period, it is impossible for the people to not be saved when they meet the people." Wang Hao's gaze looked at Lin Qin and finally fell on his chest. "This gun is his teammate. Your gun has no muffler, and shooting will cause zombie riots. At that time, the situation will be difficult to control. Even if you have a muffler, you don't have any sound at all. There is still a little sound. Therefore, you must be cautious." Lin Qin lowered his head and looked at his gun, suddenly nodded. "I did not expect that there was such a saying that the muffler was." He used to play in the game. After the muffler was installed, he listened to a little sound, but it was not big, but he thought it was for the experience of the game player. After all, when others hit him, do not look at the system's prompts and do not know the enemy's orientation in a short time. Unexpectedly, the same is true in real life. Fortunately, I met a real police officer. Otherwise, he really thought that there was no sound after installing it. But even so, the effect of the muffler is much larger than not to be installed. This muffler is still very necessary. Wang Hao looked at the gun in Lin Qin's hand, and some are mixed. Their firearms are uniform. Although they cannot judge who it is from the appearance, It is certain that they can have this gun type now that they are other teammates. When I met him, the situation, is it okay? The topic turned too fast, and Lin Qin stunned for a while, but soon reacted. In his mouth, he was the person Lin Qin met last night. Lin Qin thought back and said slowly, I was injured, and the wound infection on the arm is spread. It is considered too much blood loss. I want to be too tortured when I want to mutate. Lin Qin said calm. His villa area cannot be regarded as a very high-end villa area. It can only be said that it is a villa area that is better than ordinary communities. After all, there are a lot of houses here. Of course, those who can afford villas in such cities are definitely not ordinary people, ordinary villas. The surrounding fences are also the European-style iron fence, which is not very high or very short. It does not have much effect besides being more beautiful. On the contrary, such a wall is more conducive to others. If this is in the past, the surrounding grass and tree security and monitoring can also deter look, but now, Lin Qin could only shook his head. At most, the zombies who can't climb the outside. Although this wall is quite average, the special policeman yesterday was extremely flexible. Under the injured body, you can also lie down. Lin Qin admired very much. In contrast, he was still too weak. But who makes him an ordinary person? Without shortcuts to go, you can only speed up yourself by speeding yourself up. Lin Qin also wanted to be emotional, and saw Wang Hao staring straight at himself. Lin Qin was at the bottom of his heart, and added 2 more words. When I met him, it was already wandering on the edge of mutation, and there was no way to save it. And the equipment was picked up. After all, in the current situation, I can't do it when I see the gun, but take nothing. Wang Hao nodded and didn't ask anymore. The 2 people were very quiet, and the survivors behind were also quiet, but before Lin Hao returned, they seemed to be confident. Suddenly, there was a sound outside, and the 2 were alertly vigilant. There was a slight noise in the corridor, which was not very loud, but the roar of the zombies is obvious and farther. The voice of teammates came from Wang Hao's intercom. On the second, I was surrounded by a few survivors, and it was downstairs in the mall of our survivor. Too much. I'm afraid I can't go anymore. I have asked my survivors to go to you. You can take advantage of the other survivors in the mall now. The voice in the intercom was intermittent, and Lin Qin stood on the side of the way. But the chain from Wang Haozhou's aura is not a good thing. Wait, I'll support you. As soon as Wang Hao's tone fell, Yi read a book from downstairs in www.yika.net. For a time, the people in the room looked at the 4 weeks unknown. Fear, panic, all emotional intertwined. Wang Hao almost rushed to the floor to ceiling window. The zombies are dense, and there are 3 or 4. This does not count the opposite office building has come over a lot. Seeing this, Wang Hao opened a rolling gate and walked out, and at the same time facing the humanity inside. Everyone follows me and go down the stairs from the other side. He looked at Lin Qin. You escort them with me, and then find a way to take them to the place where the 3 survivors are hiding waiting for us. After ordering, Lin Qin condensed. I only have time to say, don't life. Know that there are no back there. Wang Hao carried the gun, and his tone was extremely firm. Then I can't watch his comrades in front of me. Our mission was originally a search and rescue survivor. You are crazy. What do you do if you die? Lin Qin was speechless. Isn't this a proper behavior? Who knew that? Wang Hao said. There will be other special policemen to find you, and we have a teammate who is trapped beside them temporarily. Lin Qin tightened his lips without talking. It's crazy. He received a few women, which was purely listening to Zhang Jian's words. In order to play, he sent a boring time. They export their lives for a few others who do not get relatives. At this moment, Zhang Shui's voice came in the dialogue in his ear, and there was some noisy around. Lin Qin, we were surrounded by zombies just downstairs in the mall. There was a special policeman here to help us, but I felt that I couldn't support it anymore. Come and help us. Lin Qin frowned and just wanted to speak. There was a scream from there, and the sound of the intercom was stopped. Lin Qin took a deep breath, but only felt that there was nothing to do with it. Everything was blocked together. The platform outside the second floor is actually safe. As long as you hide your body, don't make a sound. Zombies will not find them. But these two people came to the mall without permission, also with a special police officer. Lin Qin couldn't help thinking of the voice in Wang Hao's walkie-talkie. Isn't it his teammate? One is the sister of a good brother, and the other is a person who has saved himself in the last life. Big head. Wang Hao's movement was fast, and all the survivors followed him neatly. Wang Hao walked in front of the road, and Lin Qin was broken. These survivors are in the middle. However, there are elderly people in the team, and naturally running is not too fast. However, Grandpa is strong, and he is not as slow as Lin Qin's imagination. But it is still much worse than the zombies. Fortunately, the team does not need to run wild now. The hidden back kitchen just now is separated by a road and walks over. It takes a few minutes. The direction of going downstairs was still walking along the stairs when the two people came, and they would pass through the corpses of many zombies. Most of the girls in the team are shocked and afraid. He followed Wang Hao's body all the way and came to the stairs smoothly. Lin Qin was watching the zombies just now, and the two zombies wearing special police clothes were a little fascinating. Although the role of mufflers cannot completely eliminate sounds, it can also reduce the vast majority. This principle is probably the difference between fireworks and small goldfish. Originally attracted a few kilometers to dozens of meters. The role is still particularly obvious. Well, I want to get it. The people in the team followed Wang Hao's body, following his pace. After Lin Qin was broken, no one would notice him at all. Even if you notice, no one will say anything. It will only keep up with the team. Glanced at the crowd, Lin Qin went directly to the position of the two zombies in the corridor, turned their bodies, and revealed the gun hanging around the waist. Then removed the muffler. Lin Qin was not interested in the bullets in the muzzle. The muffler Lin Qin was put on his own muzzle and returned to the end of the team again. After all, you still have to save people. Everyone and other tensions looked around, and no one cared about this small meeting that Lin Qin left. He escorted this all the way downstairs. Everyone was stuck in a wall and did not dare to make a sound. The zombies gathered there, and it seemed particularly safe here. Wang Hao let others suspend him in place and wait. He looked out of his head and made sure that all the zombies were already on his teammates so that he could leave these ordinary citizens to leave here. At this moment, Zhang Shui's voice came by Lin Qin's ear. Lin Qin, we were surrounded by zombies. You run quickly. Lin Qin listened to the voice in the walkie-talkie and accidentally heard the sound of Zhang Shui's hurry to go. He looked at the people here, looked at Wang Hao back, and stood in front of him and instructed, "You take them to go there. Remember, don't shoot without shooting." After speaking, he continued to observe the outside, and then waved Lin Qin's gesture to leave. Lin Qin looked at the men, women, and children in this group, and walked forward with his lips. Two special police officers. There are a lot of weapons and equipment. Should I be able to deal with it? He has passed for 5 minutes. Other survivors also cooperated, followed Lin Qin through the road, and came all the way to the shop he met with the special police. Lin Qin reached out and knocked on the door of the kitchen inside, and said, "The door inside is me." Lin Qin's voice is relatively unfamiliar, but it is not completely. Several people glanced at each other unknown, knowing that they were hiding here, except for those two people had no others. Especially when there is a voice outside, it should not be a zombie. Someone trembled forward, opened the door slowly, showing a gap. Seeing Lin Qin's figure appeared, the door gap was pulled even larger. Standing behind Lin Qin, there were a lot of people in Wuyu. Lin Qin pushed the door directly and let the other survivors behind him walk in. Then he said nothing and closed the door directly to the street. The location of a zombie is in the position of another corner. I can't see the specific situation there. That's why he can evacuate these people so smoothly. In addition, the zombies here were resolved a lot, and there were corpses everywhere. In a short time, zombies in this direction would not be wrapped. Lin Qin can also hear the roar of the zombies, and there is no human scream and fear of human screams. It should be reluctant to resist. Lin Qin did not dare to delay all the way. Holding a gun to the back of the zombie, Looking at it roughly, it also had to be 1 or 200. Anyway, there are a lot, and the square here is dense. Fortunately, in front of the shopping mall, reading www.okanshu.net has a lot of guardrails, and the speed of zombies has slowed a lot. And Zhang Shui and Nan Wei were also fortunate to cooperate with 2 special police officers. There were many vehicles stopped at both ends of the street. Lin Qin climbed to the roof and started aiming with a gun. A lot of zombies in the rear, coupled with the roar from the zombie group itself, could be well covered up with a slight gunshot of the muffler. The team over there is still trying to prevent the zombies from approaching. Zhang Shui and Nan Wei controlled the bow and arrow. But without Lin Qin, the arrow is also decreasing sharply. The number of bullets carried by 2 special policemen is also limited. To deal with so many zombies, ammunition is also decreasing. Seeing this, Lin Qin couldn't help but take out 3 grenades from the storage space. He has watched this stuff on TV and has not had actual operation. I don't know if the operation will be wrong. Pulling a grenade's insurance ring, Lin Qin was thrown directly into the zombie group. However, he didn't throw too far. It's just stuck at the end of the zombie group. One is because I didn't know how to open it, and I didn't know how many seconds of the explosion is. You have to be familiar with the test. After losing the grenade, Lin Qin jumped off the roadside cars. Miles to count in my heart. 1, 2, 3, 5. Black. The grenade exploded. The huge impact was scared that the 4 people over there slightly shrank their necks, and at the same time saw the explosion of the rear corpse. It should be Lin Qin. Zhang Shuiru's open-minded opening, and the 2 worked even harder. The rear of the corpse was killed by a grenade and killed a lot of zombies, and therefore attracted the attention of most zombies. In this way, the zombies were diverted out. Zhang Shui had a moment of breathing against the zombies. What's the situation? Wang Hao looked at the position of the explosion opposite unknown at the end of the zombie. Zhang Shui's words, he didn't hear it at all. When everyone was nervous to solve the zombies, they still did not forget to look at the specific situation. Seeing a smooth explosion, Lin Qin began to attract other zombies who were attracted to the divert. Fast speed and a large span. If you see and keep up with this, you will be rounded. Lin Qin couldn't help hanging his gun behind him. Then squatting on the side of the road, no money, one by one lost all of the grenades from left to right. Let you taste the grenades of Grandpa. Ah! The sound of the explosion rang. The zombies were also bombed. From time to time, Lin Qin sure looked up to check the situation and kept taking out more grenades from the storage space to adjust the direction. On the roadside, less than 50 grenades were piled up. Pulling the insurance ring constantly lost. The insurance ring at the foot has accumulated into a hill. And Zhang Shui Wang Hao over there was also numb. Wang Hao, which big guy, so many grenades? Zhang Shui and Wei. Are you sure is Lin Qin? At this time, Lin Qin was constantly losing. The strength of each giggle is different. There are far and near, but there are a lot of victory. Before the zombies are approaching, most of them are resolved. There are only some scattered broken arms and legs. The threat is not as good as before. Lin Qin looked up again and again, and found that there were some shrimp soldiers and crabs left. Without the zombies to cover the sight, Wang Hao also saw Lin Qin at this time. They approached Lin Qin all the way and resolved several shrimp soldiers and crabs who were still struggling along the way to merge with Lin Qin. Zhang Shui saw Lin Qin, ran directly, and hugged him. I scared me, you're okay. Lin Qin's expression was not very good. When Zhang Shui rushed over, he reached out and put on her face. The tone is very serious. Have I told you, don't run around, don't run, stay there and wait for me to come back. It's long, dare to run over with a bow and arrow. Your brother wants to know that you make you so tidy here, you can't finish it with me. After Zhang Shui, Lin Qin looked at Nan Wei again. For Nan Wei, he is a bit weak. I really owed her last life. This life has come back. Wang Hao was okay, even if he knew so many grenades came from his hand. He just stunned, but didn't ask much. Looking at Lin Qin wrote, "Thank you so much. Fortunately, there is you, otherwise I really can't stand it." Lin Qin looked at them and shook his head. Don't think he thought too perfectly, because Zhang Shui was speechless. Wang Hao didn't say much about it. When he looked around, he said, "This place can't be treated for a long time, so you have to leave quickly. Lin Wei, one car with 2 people in one car. Take these people away. There are 6 people in the mall and 3 people in the shop. This is already 9 people. Also count as Lin Qin's 3 people with themselves. There are 14 people in total, and a car used to calculate it in 5 people in the past. For extra 4 means that each must be plugged in 2. Can't care if you can escape, you can squeeze it. You can sit together as long as you can sit." Lin Wei nodded and walked directly to the roadside to select the vehicle. There are many cars parked on the roadside, and they're intact and not good. I see I ain't waste much effort at all, but without the car key, it takes a lot of effort. But as a special police, there's still such skills. Wang Hao entered the shop and brought out other survivors hidden inside. When Lin Qin turned around, he shook his head. "We won't go with you anymore." Wang Hao looked back and looked at Lin Qin. "We're going to evacuate, and there are other troops that are safe, and sufficient food and water. When the country's refuge is built in the later period, we will conduct you uniformly transfer to the shelter. Don't worry about the invasion of these zombies. You are not safe here." In Wang Hao's subjective impression, the number of zombies they met was too large. Ordinary people cannot survive at all. Even if you have a weapon of defense, you can say that the food is always finished. At that time, the city's depression is difficult to meet a living person. What's more, they can't guarantee whether to wait for the later period, whether they will use the hot weapon to clear the cities with a large area of the hot weapon. At that time, these ordinary citizens who have not gone to the evacuation point will be gone under the hot weapon. It is difficult to say. Of course, Wang Hao just thought so and did not tell his thoughts. But this matter is likely to happen. Once there are more and more zombies and increasingly controllable, the country will take corresponding measures. But before that, the first purpose was to retain most people. Lin Qin didn't know what would happen in the future. In his life, he only survived the first 2 months. But so far, it must be safer at home. As for the evacuation point, let's take a look. Yu reading www.uukangshu.net. But, Xiaoxue, go with them. Follow them to evacuate points. Maybe you will meet your brother later. Zhang Shui has always wanted to go to the evacuation point and be with her brother. At this time, I met 2 special police officers and went to the evacuation point. Compared to others, the special policemen think in Lin Qin very trustworthy. As for Zhang Jian, after his mobile phone was disappeared, he couldn't contact again. But Zhang Shui refused. "No, I will stay with you too." Lin Qin looked at Nan Wei next to him, and Nan Wei hooked his lips. "See what I do, of course I follow you." In this regard, Wang Hao can only regret it. "Okay, if you need help, you can come to the withdrawal point by yourself, and we will always accept it." Lin Qin nodded with a smile, and Wang Hao couldn't and could only leave here with his teammates with the survivors of the 2 cars. So far, driving is the best way. After all, there are too many people in the team. But the car they chose is very ordinary if they meet zombies. It will be the same consequences as the car that was overturned last time. However, Lin Qin feels that they should abandon the car to leave before the rollover. But even so, Lin Qin still feels not safe. A little reminded, Wang Hao nodded and stated, Everyone parted ways. Lin Qin and Zhang Shui Nanwei stood by the road. On the right side, the zombies accumulated in the mountains burst. They looked at the taillights of the car, gradually disappearing. With a breeze blowing, Lin Qin bent down and picked up a abandoned plastic bag. Put all the grenades on the feet. Go. Take you to go shopping. You don't want to die. Just moved so much. Do you dare to enter this mall? Zhang Shui looked at Lin Qin in shock. At this time, it is still tantamount to waiting for death. Lin Qin laughed. Who said it here? Go. String forward. Lin Qin bypassed the corpse's body and walked in another direction. Even on the edge of the road, it kept a distance from the zombies. But the bloodstains on the ground and the fried face of the zombies still appeared. For example, the broken meat, the black arms, the thighs of the bones, the eyes of the eyes. 3 people quickly left here. Walk along the other side of the road network. However, the streets are empty except for the messy cars, bloodstains, corpses, etc. Others are still safe. When I was far away, there were several wild dogs that looked less right in front of them, and they were eating carrion on the roadside. Lin Qin squatted behind the abandoned car on the side of the road. Take out the telescope and observe it carefully. The wild dog's abdomen has been damaged and injured, and the intestines are hacking halfway outside. The other situation is not very good. Half of the face is gone. Lin Qin is not a dog that has not been converted in the last day, which is more difficult to entangle than zombies. After thinking about it, he squatted behind the car and took out 2 rifles equipped with a muffler. Will it open? Nan Wei shook her head, and Zhang Shui shook her head. Don't say that ordinary people will shoot, even see it on TV. If the toy gun is calculated, it has really touched it. After all, there are little nephews in the family. I am afraid that the toy guns will be the first to send the list during the new year. Lin Qin began to teach urgently. After saying that after introduction, watching the 2 people was still a bit aggressive, he could not help but say, actually, it should be quite like a toy gun, right? After all, there's simulation of toy guns, but the bullets inside are mostly small balls of rubber plastic. This recoil is a bit. Pay attention when playing. There will be no big problems. By the way, avoid teammates. You can't target your teammates. For the first time, it is easy to be trapped by the recoil with a circle. Lin Qin couldn't help but remind him. Seeing the 2 people nodded, Lin Qin didn't say much. The wild dogs over there are meat rotten. There are only 2. Even if they move faster, they're difficult to entangle than zombies. They're 3 guns. No problem. Lin Qin aimed at the wild dog and took advantage of them to be more vigilant now. The bullet was shot and successfully hit the head. The wild dog fell down. Another mutant wild dog looked at it very vigilantly. Later, he grinned to make an attack. Seeing this, Lin Qin saw the past without hesitation. The wild dog actually avoided the bullets, and suddenly Howling the Sky was howling. Then, from behind him, there were many wild dogs gathered. This is the Wild Dog League. Lin Qin immediately fired, aiming at the scan, and shouted at the same time, "Fire, aim!" Both women used rifles for the first time, and the recoil was not very suitable at first. These mutant wild dogs are very flexible, and the quasi is much less. Even Lin Qin, who was in 100 battles, was not very good. The speed of the wild dog is much greater than the zombies. Avoid a lot. Seeing that the situation was wrong, Lin Qin took out his own exclusive unique survival, grenades. If you can't fight, you can't believe it. One by one, 3 people stepped back. Lin Qin was responsible for losing the bomb. The 2 women ran madly under Lin Qin's instructions. The bomb lost a lot, and the mutant wild dogs were also disrupted. Lin Qin and 2 people finally came to a safe place. Patched, Lin Qin looked at them. I'm tired of me. Zhang Shui couldn't move long ago, panting with her waist. Damn, what is that, dog? Nan Wei, also panting, looking at the empty surroundings. It should be bitten by people who have been mutated into zombies. As long as they are alive or animals, these zombies will follow instinct to bite and eat. Obviously, those who were only bitten by zombies, and, after running away, the body mutated and assimilated into a zombie. What do we do now? If we go back, there are 2 intersections, and we have to take about 300 meters. Zhang Shui pant and also observe the surroundings. It's not a place to speak now. Lin Qin sure looked down and then came to the supermarket on the roadside. There are 2 floors in the supermarket, which is not very big, and you can look at it at a glance. Mainly, the shells are all over the sky, nothing. Several shells were still falling, and the horizontal fork was on another shelf. There are no traces of zombies. Immediately, don't hesitate to push the door. Later, the gate was closed. The falling shelf was moved to the door of the transparent glass by Lin Qin, blocking the light outside. 3 people checked the situation in the supermarket to ensure enough safety. Then they found a place to sit down. Running all the way, my physical strength was almost consumed. It blocked the vision outside, and it would definitely not be found without static. Lin Qin took out 3 bottles of mineral water from his backpack, and 1 bottle was distributed. For so long, Yu reads www.yuukangshu.net long ago. After gurgling, it was a lot more comfortable. After waiting for a while, the mutant wild dogs outside did not chase. The tense atmosphere eased. Lin Qin looked at the two of them. Don't always think about it in the future. There are a lot of things I met today. They could have stayed in the villa. But Lin Qin needs to find a muffler, and they need to be familiar with the weapon practice. After all, the surrounding zombies are basically gone. If you want to practice, you can only go out. It is always impossible to hide in the villa for a lifetime. Although it is not impossible, don't you find someone else while others come to you? The best way is to be strong enough to be qualified to lie in the villa to rest. No one would have encountered so many things today. It wouldn't be the case. Zhang Shui lowered her head and whispered. Lin Qin looked at her. It's not because you want to go out. Just the two special police officers. Why don't you follow them? Didn't you always want to merge with your brother before? Zhang Shui looked up, a little bit lingering. Different. If you follow along, then I must follow the words without saying a word. They are very good, but my brother also said that it is safer to follow you and trust. Thinking that Zhang Jian had no doubts about himself before and blindly confident, Lin Qin felt that it was really possible. He looked at Nan Wei aside. What about you? What are you for? Nan Wei shook the water bottle. Going to the evacuation point is indeed the best option. But the question is that who said that the evacuation point is safe? During this time, I think you are more reliable than them. As if thinking of something, Nan Wei stopped talking and lowered his head. Moreover, I still have friends here, and when they find them, they're doing other plans. I can't leave them, ignore them. Outside, Lin Qin raised an eyebrow. And friends. Before Lin Qin asked further, Xiao Xue on the side couldn't wait to ask. Sister Nan Wei, you still have friend with you? Why are you not together? Nan Wei looked at Zhang Shui's inquiry and said easily, Hey, it's not a zombie. We are young and play well. I just came back the day before the zombie broke out. I had an appointment to play, but the next day, I suddenly confused. My friends have been hiding in the hotel. Later, there was no food and water. Several men broke through my house and killed my parents. I was imprisoned and scolded, and I ran out of the time. At that time, I was thinking about living first, and I met Lin Qin. You know the later things. Speaking, Nan Wei's eyes looked at Lin Qin. She was very immoral at the time. But in that case, she is actually wrong to live. Later, I went out to find the materials and was stared at by a few men. I had to separate from that little girl, and then I went to the hotel where my friend hid before. But I found that they were gone, and now I don't know where people are going. But I think they must still be alive. I will find them sooner or later, and they will definitely come to me. Rather than turning around like a headless fly, it is better to return here. Came back. But to be honest, Lin Qin, you had a gun at that time. Why not kill me like this? He did not hesitate to kill the two men at the time. Until now, I didn't want to understand why I didn't even bring myself. Lin Qin moved his eyes and then said, You don't believe it. Don't say it. I can't say, because you have saved me in my last life and return your life. Nan Wei raised an eyebrow without asking much. Zhang Shui on the side wanted to know a lot. It sounds like a lot of things happened when he met. Say, I really want to know what you have happened. Children ask less. It's better to control yourself. Lin Qin sent it randomly. But Zhang Shui was obviously not very happy. However, I did not continue to ask, but just looked at Lin Qin and Nan Wei. Just then, there was a sound from upstairs. Lin Qin stood up for the first time and motioned not to speak. This sound cannot be judged whether the mutant wild dogs come in or anything else. However, the probability of mutant wild dogs should not be high. 3 people stared at it with vigilance. The shelves blocked in front of the door and blocked the vast majority of light. The stairs leading to the second floor are very dim. Lin Qin first looked at the situation on the stairs. It's clean. It should not be a zombie. Following the stairs, Lin Qin stepped upstairs. The second floor is basically the same as the situation downstairs. It is empty and sticks to the bottom of the wall. There are several rows of shelves. The middle position is empty, and there is no view. As for the movement just sent out, Lin Qin saw that there was nothing here. Zhang Shui stood downstairs and looked at Lin Qin nervously, How about, what's the situation above? Yu reading books www.yukangshu.net nothing. Lin Qin said, looked around again, and then turned away. Suddenly, there seemed to be something in the corner of the shelf. Lin Qin stepped. Looking at the side, you can see that an empty kana can fall next to the shelves. I don't know if it was encountered or blown by the wind. Roll back and forth twice. The sound of the sound is exactly the same as what I just heard. Lin Qin couldn't help but walk in the direction of a shelf. However, behind the shelves, there is still nothing. There was a small window half open, and the breeze was blowing. Lin Qin returned downstairs and shook his head under the eyes of two people. Is it almost the same? We're going back. Almost, let's go. The team continues to move forward. After Lin Qin and others left. Outside the window on the second floor is a small platform for air conditioning. The girl turned back again along the window. Lin Qin and others walked carefully on the street, hoping to return to the villa smoothly. Nympho. At this time, a team of people came to the surroundings of the villa area. The sound of gunfire sounded, and a lot of zombies alarmed. Lin Qin's surveillance detected the shaking of the human form and kept shaking on his mobile phone. Lin Qin couldn't help but take out his mobile phone to check the past. I saw the intersection in the northwest of the gate. There was a team of not small horses. They all held weapons and searched the roadside cars. Some even picked up the clothes on the ground, these positions in the bag, and finding useful things. Seeing this scene, Lin Qin had a little sense of crisis. He is not at home. Although there's a grid outside, he just stops climbing the wall. In the event of a tool, you can easily break the door. But just so worried for a moment, Lin Qin saw the people in the monitoring suddenly seemed very excited. Robbing rushed to a direction. Lin Qin mobilized the monitoring position while walking. I saw three completely strange faces in the picture. Two men, one woman. These people surround them. After finding a new goal, will you find that you are so conspicuous for a while and a half? Lin Qin Fong loosen a lot. The person of this team is the team he has met the most so far, and it is not difficult to see from their actions that this group is not those ordinary survivors. The power grid on the wall of your villa can be stopped, but there are so many people who will not have any other ways to enter. Of course, Lin Qin was not worried that he would be in. It was remembered by these people. You know, if you're not afraid of thieves, you are afraid of the thief. This time is enough for him to go back. The pace of leaving Lin Qin could not help but speed up, and the mobile phone was put in a pair of pants. The street outside was quiet, and the zombies were not seen around. Nan Wei and Zhang Shui didn't know the situation there. It was just that Lin Qin's pace was accelerating, and they could only keep up quickly, stay away from this right and wrong place. At this time, the team of searching for materials met with the team of several young people. Hulai surrounded them all. The only girl in the team hid behind the two boys, watching strange men around them. Yeah, Brother Hua. They're beautiful women. The man named Hua came over with a shirtless, and there was a little girl hidden behind the two men at first sight. Laughing immediately. Well, really, look at this little face, and the water spirit is very, very good. If you don't know which star is it, Zhang Huapeng walked all the way, pushing the two boys blocking in front of the girl, showing the woman behind her. The woman's little face was white, although she looked a little gray at this time, but she did not affect her beauty at all, but she still looked at him in fear. Zhang Huapeng reached out, pinched the girl's chin, and looked carefully. This little face, water spirit. The end of the day is so long, it is really rare to see such a face. The two men next to each other saw this, and one pulled the woman behind her and blocked her. One was standing in front of Zhang Huapeng to try to communicate. Brother, we're ordinary people passing out to find supplies, and there are no valuable things on us. You have a lot of adults, let me go. Before he finished speaking, Zhang Huapeng smiled at him. When a man thought there was room for discussing, Zhang Huapeng kicked over. Seeing the situation behind him, the other two people ran away immediately and helped the companions who were kicked to the ground. Brother Hua, this woman seems to be a star. I look like the newly popular little flower recently. What is Wang you're on? Yes, Wang you're on. Brother Hua, how about this lady? How many brothers are all bachelor enjoy it. The spoke of the thief's eyebrows, looking at Wang Yuran's face. This is a star. I have only been on TV before, but I have never really been in contact. Now no one cares about this. It is pretty good if you can play with female stars. Zhang Huapeng raised his eyebrows, stepped forward quickly, and pulled Wang Yuran, who cared for his companion, and looked closely. Su Chang, who was kicked, saw the situation with the careless prince, and immediately got up, trying to pull Wang Yuran back. But surrounded by other people around him, Zhang Huapeng squeezed Wang Yuran's chin and looked back at the suggestions of his younger brother. Some surprises raised an eyebrow. To be honest, he has never played female stars. After all, I have watched it on TV in the past. That body is white and beautiful. This idea is good. I haven't enjoyed the stars before. This idea is good. After Lao Tzu is finished, the brothers also go refreshing, huh? Zhang Huapeng's words fell, and for a while, the brothers resonated. Everyone seems to think of a woman's feeling of lying under her. For a moment, I just felt the taste, and her eyes were particularly naked. Wang Yuran listened to the other party's public discussion on how to deal with himself, and was frightened to struggle. The two men standing on the side tried to break away from the surrounding people, trying to snatch Wang Yuran from Zhang Huapeng's hand. However, Zhang Huapeng's brother responded quickly. He simply pressed them all left and right, and could not break away. Zhang Huapeng dragged and pulled Wang Yuran. Wang Yuran resisted desperately and yelled. Seeing this, Zhang Huapeng frowned, blocking her mouth to me. It is troublesome to attract zombies. It was forced to pinch his chin, and Wang Yuran's mouth was stuffed with cloth strips, which is not counted. To prevent the cloth strip from falling, Yu reads www.ukanshu.net was tied to her head with other cloth strips to prevent her from vomiting. Wang Yuran's eyes flushed, and he kept tears in fear, but he had no way to hold his left and right hands. I can't speak in my mouth. I can only whine. Zhang Huapeng looked around, and then selected a shop along the street. He held Wang Yanran and dragged her all the way. Although he didn't mind in the day of Guangtian, he was afraid that the zombies would suddenly come out and disturb his good things. Seeing that the situation was wrong, the prince who was pressed suddenly said sharply, "Brother, don't do this. Everyone is a difficult person. Avoid zombies everywhere." My sister is not Wang Yuran. She is still in college this year. Wang Yuran is almost 30 years old. How could it be my sister, right? And you have no substantial use, right? Don't move her. The two of us take you to find an airdrop.